Hello, hello. Yes, I think. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can. That's awesome.
Yay.
I need to adjust this.
Well, here, while nobody else is on,
There's
the secret model.
Uh-oh. There's BJ and Josh are coming on.
Oh, I can't. Damn it. I can't share it now.
I saw a flash of it.
You'd like the conversion. It's hell, it took me 2 days just to fit the damn pieces together.
Awesome. So this is kind of cool. I was been thinking about what we could do to kind of do some face-to-face stuff, and I am going to so it looks like I have to admit every single person that wants to come in and join automatically, or not automatically, but manually.
Yeah, because it's your meeting.
Yeah. It looks like BJ's over there. He's trying to connect to audio. At least that's what it's saying on my side.
Yeah, Josh and Roger, they're muted right now on my side.
I was going to wait and see how many people join us, and then kind of see what everybody's working on, and just kind of go from there and chat a little bit as we paint, that sort of thing.
There you go.
Okay.
Hey, there we go. Is that BJ?
It's Roger.
Roger. Okay. So Roger's here. Roger.
How are you fellas getting along?
Doing well. Kind of getting some cabin fever, but
No, I actually was at the work yesterday and today for the first 2 weeks, so that was interesting.
It's probably not as messy and lots of without all the people in the building. You can get to some other projects that you normally don't get to.
No, we're still not allowed in the buildings yet. I was out mowing lawns for 2 days.
I went up to school on Saturday to get my laptop and grab a few things out of my office, and that's it. I haven't been to school since the 13th of March.
Wow.
Have you guys started online learning yet down there, or no?
We did. And this was the first week.
Gotcha. How's it going?
For me, it's not bad because I'm the counselor, so I don't have to actually have a whole lot of classroom stuff, but
remind me, you're high school or middle school?
I am the only counselor in our district, so but wow. I am 7 through 12 is the side of the building that I'm on.
Gotcha.
So right now, kids are trying to worry about scholarships and graduation and all that, you know. Yeah. Like, how's my life going to go on? How am I going to get these scholarships? How am I going to get into college?
Yep.
It's hard to tell them when they're there, guys. This really isn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
Tell them that, but you know, for those of us who have lived a little bit, yeah. But you turn around and like my basketball team from Blue Valley Northwest has won state 5 of the last 7 years. They were scheduled to win it again this year. They canceled after round 1. They sent everybody home. There's no high school state champion this year.
Yeah, there's just nothing. So looks like there's 5 of us at the moment. There's Matthew, myself, Bob, Josh, Roger, and Chris. And John is joining us.
Do you guys have a meeting ID and a password? I've got the app on my mobile device, and so I'd have video too if I could get it on.
Just the link is what Chris has.
What's the best way to get you the URL?
Can you send it to me on Facebook Messenger?
I can, and this is Roger.
Yep.
Roger Rex Road.
You got it.
I've literally never read your last name correctly. I think my brain just stopped reading after Rex, and I always saw it as Rexford.
Sure. Well, it's actually Rex Road, so it sounds like maybe.
We aren't friends on Facebook.
This sounds way more post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Welcome, John.
Hey, John.
He's muted.
Vince, can you hear me okay?
Hey, there we go.
Can.
There we go. There's the big
I was
boss.
muted, so you didn't hear me smacking my pizza.
Look at that nifty map in the background.
Yeah, you know why that's there? You can't see what a damn mess the headquarters is.
That's funny. All right, Roger, I sent you the link through Facebook Messenger.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're not friends, so so that way you'll have to look in your message
Wow,
request.
that's hard.
That's not a nice way to say it at all.
I'm going back to the Free Blades page, and I'm going to check and see who else was interested in joining. But right before you got in, John, I was going to say we'll kind of go through, who's here and kind of what we're going to work on tonight, or our plan and everything else, and just kind of chat and get started with some painting and modeling and everything else.
Also, if people are interested, I have, as long as my share screen is functioning properly, I have some art and other things to show people if they're interested.
Cool, that's awesome.
But a distinct lack of dinosaurs, as I recall.
Damn, you guys are harsh.
Wow, Chris. Wow.
Overrated.
All right, so
That sponsorship program's wide open.
that's funny. So that's Chris. How do you pronounce your last name, Chris? Riddy?
Riddy, yes,
Riddy.
actually, one of the
Okay.
people to get it right.
I can tell you this, Chris, we don't have art for the next dinosaur, but it does have wings.
Elves are better than dinosaurs.
Oh.
Just saying.
I can tell you this. I'm just trying to get permission from the wife to spend $700 to sponsor a model.
All right, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's how it works.
If I didn't have to get permission, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
That's right. Hey, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. With the shutdown, she can't divorce me right now, so maybe I have an opening.
That's hilarious. And then let's see, there's Josh. Is that Josh Grist?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, good. Roger Rexroad. There's BJ Lemure. It still shows that BJ is connecting to audio. So, but I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Lemure, Lamure. And I think that may be it. Jennifer may join us later. Jason.
He's busy dealing with a sculptor right now.
Oh, okay. And Jason Gibolt.
Yeah, Jason Gabo is, I think he's busy at the moment.
Okay.
I was talking to him earlier. I don't know.
Hey, there's Roger.
Roger, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, there's a Jennifer. Let's see what she.
Okay,
there we go.
Yeah.
It is Jennifer Felix.
That cabinet full of toys. Damn.
Yeah, she may not have heard you yet.
Probably good.
So somebody has. That's some microphone. Microphone's picking up some speaker volume or.
Here's some sweet techno beats.
Yeah.
I believe that's Roger.
It's the feedback. It's the double Roger.
Oh God, Roger.
Okay, so do we want to kind of go through first and kind of say hello to everybody, and kind of show what we're going to work on or what we want to, and then John has some few goodies. That way, if more people join us, that gives us a few more minutes before he gives us some information. You want me to go first? So I'm Bob. It says Robert Nolan. Most of my students know me as Robert, but friends and people in the gaming industry know me as Bob. See, I'm trying to remember. I played War Machine and Hordes for a long time, and after I quit playing that, I missed that gaming community and stuff. And so the Herodellans from Free Blades, I'd never played a the full like night army, and so I jumped in, and I was trying to remember 2015 or 14 is whenever I bought some rule book and the models up at Recruits. So, and with this stay at home and shelter stuff, I thought, hey, this would be kind of cool to get everybody together and people I don't know and say hello and do some face-to-face stuff. And Zoom seemed to work, so we'll give it a shot.
So where are you from?
I am in Kansas. I'm about probably 90 miles straight south of Jon, and from the Kansas City area, about 75 miles. So, in a real small area. I've got one other person here in the town that plays miniature games that I'm aware of. No game store. I've got to drive up to Kansas City or down to Joplin to go to a game store. So, and that's kind of a short background at the moment. So somebody else want to jump in?
I can go. So I cut my teeth playing BattleTech for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of stumbled into Free Blades because the BattleTech tables were always by the Free Blades table at Gen Con. And so I kept, if you know BattleTech, it's a slog of a game.
It
and
is,
I would keep glancing over at the Free Blades table, seeing people have a really good time. And I kept telling myself, man, I need to try this. I need to try this. So then I jumped into a demo one year, really liked it. My daughter was getting to the age that she was interested in kind of a game like that. Mm-hmm. And she came to Gen Con on Sunday, and Jon was just really gracious to us at the booth. And I got to talking to him about just kind of the nature of the way females were treated from the fiction standpoint in games and the miniatures and things like that. And in addition to the game being fun, I found it interesting as something that, I thought would be cool to do with my daughter, and the rest is history. So yeah, I've been playing it since, and I'm trying to get more and more people here in Indy to pick it up. We're starting to get some traction, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, the game has really picked up in probably the last 2 years, at least, the Free Blades group, people from outside our region, Kansas area. So that's great.
Hey, Jennifer.
Can you hear us, Jen? But we can't hear you.
You're muted, Jennifer.
On my end, it shows that
she was. She's not now. I'm thinking there's something else up with that.
She may have her specific microphone muted.
Yeah.
Do a dance if you can hear us.
There's a
I guess you can hear us.
There's a security setting that pops up that you have to allow your particular computer to use internet audio. At least it popped up with mine when I tried to use it.
So up in your address bar up at the top left, there might be a little bitty box that says something about using your microphone and video.
Oh, a pop-up. Yeah, something like that. Anyway.
No. So we'll let Jennifer kind of figure that out, and somebody else, Matt or BJ, Josh, Roger, Chris.
I'm Matt Budney. I'm in Overland Park, Kansas, which is right next to where Jon and quite a few other Jennifer, et cetera, play. Growing up, I was more of the CCG player, Star Wars, Star Trek from Decipher. It wasn't until I was playing X-Wing back in 4, 5, 6 years ago. I was actually playing X-Wing with a friend and saw Brian Bledsoe, who isn't in the chat here, but he was playing Bandits versus Herodellans and Free Blades, and that got me interested. And I ended up going to a tournament, played Jennifer and her kid, and they still talk about that game. It was Kuzarg versus Herodellan, by the way. That was my first game, and that got me hooked. And
so it lasted about 8 hours?
Not quite, but close enough. Most of the tournament. And then, of course, after meeting Jon, and Jon's got me hooked on so many games, and I love him, hate him for it.
I know every time I see you posting on Facebook, you've got like this slew of models laid out on your desk with your dice and the date.
I don't even think slew is a good descriptive word there. It needs to be much more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every day there's like another 10 models. It's like, what?
Well, when you're stuck in, I mean, I'll put it this way. This is how little Agrax Earth shit I've got left. I mean, I've been running through it, and
You
I
got
could have
that-
run out before.
I'm far more curious, Matt, about the setting you're in. It looks kind of, I don't know, Stranger Things maybe? I'm not sure what's going on there, buddy.
It looks like a basement.
It doesn't look like a basement.
Hey, look, I'm in the basement, okay? It works for me.
You're not tied up or anything, right?
It looks like
If you're in distress, bat your eyes. Okay, good.
It puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the pain again.
Hey, you know
Oh.
what? Cheap rent, okay? It works for me.
It's probably nice. And,
insert dueling banjos here.
it's probably nice and cool though.
Bingo. That's another good. That's yeah.
All right, so that's Matt and Roger. Anybody else want to jump in?
I'll jump in since we're picking on Matt for his background here. There's a first off, mad respect for Star Trek and Star Wars CCG. I played the hell out of those years ago. There's a reason Chris doesn't have his camera on, is because his game room is a work in progress. It has been for, geez, which angle am I at right here? Okay, it's
Oh,
pointing
there
at
you
me.
are.
It has been for a year or so. I mean, I just got stuff everywhere here.
Yeah,
This is,
we call that a project. It's not a mess.
I have a couple of brand new cars worth of stuff in here for every freaking game you could possibly imagine. I mean, I started with Hero Quest years ago as far as miniatures go, and looking for replacement piece for Hero Quest led me into it wasn't a Games Workshop store, but it was a store that only sold Games Workshop. And 18 years later, geez, I play every version of Warhammer you could imagine. I had my bout with War Machine and Hordes, obviously Free Blades, or I wouldn't be here right now. Just picked up Star Wars Legion for my 5-year-old because he's just getting introduced to Star Wars. Bunch of little games too. Geez, I can't even think of the names right now. Deep Wars is one of a really fun one, kind of like steampunk underwater setting. Test of Honor, kind of a Japanese skirmish style game. But right now in the cycle, Free Blades is kind of becoming more my primary. I've actually got the local shop to pick it up and carry a small line of it, which is nice. We're over here I'm over in Parrish, Florida, which if anybody knows Florida at all, the Tampa, Sarasota area is just kind of one big blob.
Yeah.
It says Tampa, Brandon, Riverview, Palmetto, Parrish, Bradenton, all that stuff. So I kind of brought the game back from Gen Con when my wife and I went to Gen Con in 2017. We brought it back, and it kind of sat on the back burner for a little bit because we didn't really have an established gaming shop. But once we got one set up, started bringing in Free Blades. I think I've got 16 or so players now. The problem is I can't get them all to show up on the same freaking night. So I get like 2 to 3 a night because nobody's schedule ever syncs up. But still, there's plenty of people starting to collect, so that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, with lockdown affecting Florida now, finally, the shop stopped gaming a couple weeks ago, so we're kind of on hiatus. So I'm doing actually a Bright Sword thing over probably Roll20. We haven't figured out 100%. We're starting next week. I'm hosting a Bright Sword thing for my group, so that'll be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been playing forever, so you name it, I probably tried it, and I probably spent too much money on it. And then since nobody's actually said it yet tonight I'm working on a 40K commission that I'm doing for somebody, some Harlequins. I'm also working on 4 Vezrin, simultaneously working on Obi-Wan Kenobi from Legion, and I'm going to waffle between all of that while we talk.
You got enough hands for all that?
Not at all. But I get bored very quickly while painting. So I'll be like, okay, I did a color on this guy. Let's switch to something else completely.
What he didn't tell you is he's Doc Ock from Marvel.
I wish I could be. I just don't have the money to buy those arms after my game room here.
Yeah. You could sell some models.
You get out of here with that crap.
the ones on the bottom of the stack.
Well, I'd go dig out what I finished painting last night earlier, but I got too lazy to do it because it's in the other room. So my kid's been playing with them all day. I heard Roger earlier, and I just finished yesterday doing 7 battle droids.
Nice.
So that was kind of fun to hear Roger.
Well, good. Nice to hear from you down in Florida.
Sunny Florida, full of whack jobs.
So you mentioned that the lockdown, the stay-at-home shelter thing that was just announced.
Yep, that's just announced. It goes into effect Friday morning at midnight. It will have no impact on me. I have been deemed essential.
Right.
I don't know why I'm essential. I'm in residential home building. I work for American Homes Development. We build homes, rental homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of a project manager who oversees 3 different neighborhoods. And why in God's name residential construction is essential right now, it's beyond me. But it means I get to go to work, and it means I get to collect a paycheck, which means I get to buy more models. So
yeah. So, thank goodness that, that's still kicking. And hopefully if any of you are in a situation where you don't have a job, hopefully, things will look up here within a couple months. So. All right. That was Chris, correct? Ready?
indeed.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to jump in? Let's see, there was Josh.
Yeah, I'll jump in. It's BJ from Canada up here, Deep River. A bunch of us are into the game really hard, and what I'm working on tonight is something I talked to Jon about. I'm trying to get it so we can maybe play some free blades online.
Sweet.
I'm working at Tabletop Simulator pretty hard on that.
Yeah, I saw that post, and I've not done any 3D modeling stuff, but if you need any help doing anything on Tabletop Simulator, let me know. Because I'm
keeping it pretty simple, just using basically cardboard cutout tokens.
Okay.
But, really, the game's really about what happens with the dice usually. So
yeah,
aesthetically, it's looking pretty decent. I'll flash my camera over there eventually. Well, I'm working on it right now. I'm trying to build the trillions right now, but they have so many bloody models.
Yeah. If you need any help with it, I've got a lot of experience. I kind of do it as a side job, a freelance thing, importing stuff into Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator. So.
Well, cool.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by models, I can turn on the camera of my unfinished game room again.
All right, that was BJ in Canada. Let's see, we've got Andrew and Josh and Roger, I believe, and then Jennifer. She's got her microphone figured out yet? Maybe.
I guess I'll go. So I'm from Overland Park as well, probably about 10 minutes away from Matt. And roughly same distance to John's. I started with snakes, so chakram, in case you don't know, that's what they're called, but you should if you play the game.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
No dinosaurs. Get that out of here.
I got chakram too.
So anyway, I started with my chakram set, played that for a while. Then I bought a demon set, which I basically just painted because they're fun to paint, and then moved swiftly from that into basically every single elf model, except for, I think, the secondary pose of the Enforcer, I believe. But other than that, I recently did a paint with only the 4 colors, the 4 base colors, and a printer, the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. That was my most recent model that I posted. Aside from that, I haven't done much. I haven't painted a ton, honestly, like a couple of models here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I think one every couple days, maybe, but I'm not Matt here. I don't go ham.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's probably been mid-February since I picked up a paintbrush myself, so it's been 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And Josh, I don't know have you been to any tournaments? Have you and I met? I'm trying to.
I don't think so, unless you were at the one tabletop tournament that Jon hosted.
The last one.
Yeah, because I'd been to Kansas City like 4 times that week, and then I think was the Free Blades tournament on Saturday and the Song of Fire and Ice on Sunday, and I didn't go to either.
Yeah, so that would have been the only one. Other than that, no.
Yeah. All right, good. So we have Roger and Andrew at this point.
So the two Rogers are the same. I just
Oh
clicked
yeah.
on my.
Well, so I'm visual, and so when people drop in and out, the locations change, and so I'm trying to do it visually.
All right.
So that's Andrew, I guess then. And I don't know if we've heard Andrew yet. He's muted at the moment. And I could unmute him, but I don't necessarily want to do it.
Force unmute. He'll speak. Unmute. You just hear this odd screaming in the background, like, okay,
And
read.
a few dogs barking.
Sir, I just showed up. What are we doing?
We're just kind of introducing ourselves. John may be the only one that knows all of us. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of saying hello and kind of where we're from and maybe what we're working on or how we got into Free Blades.
I'm part of a, I guess, like DJ's group, so I'm up here in Ottawa, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We started, I think, Free Blades 2 years ago now. We saw the booth at Adepticon. Sort of all just jumped into armies and stuff. Right now I'm working on, just finished a bunch of Erdogar, the Barbarian guys.
Yeah.
Now I'm working on some of the allies. I want to do up a Ravenblade faction, so I'm painting up a bunch of these allies that I've collected over time, sort of trying to figure out a paint scheme for that group.
You do the can hammer stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I also do the Canhammer.
I was gonna say, I recognized your voice.
Yeah.
So who ended up with the stack of models that I saw on Facebook? Who was that?
Oh, that's one of the other guys.
Okay.
One of the Armitage boys.
Yeah.
I think they're in Barrie. Sudbury, Ontario.
I believe that was split between both of them. I think I saw either Kevin or was it Irvin? I can't remember.
Yeah.
One of them commented and I believe said it was a split between the two of them.
It just means that they don't need to catch up because they just buy it all at once. Where some of us have been collecting for a few years now.
Oh my goodness! Someday there will be a element implemented into the game that'll be like Games Workshop's old element where you could build your own vehicles. I don't know if that's still a thing in 40K, but oh my gosh, customized vehicles with point sets that go up as you add to the vehicle. That's just insane.
Pull in some Car Wars into the
There we go.
system.
I'll put my archers on Mad Max style vehicle with spikes on the front.
All right, Jennifer, you want to see if you got your microphone kind of figured out? I know she can hear us. She keeps laughing. Sign language? All right, and then John, of course, we kind of know what his background is in Free Blades, but
No, totally not.
Somewhat loosely connected with it, certainly.
a little bit.
And you said your name was John again?
Yeah, clever. So let's see. I think he's. I might be. I don't know how many of these folks Jennifer knows, but I think we know all of them. I think I've met all of the people here. I think Jen knows who they all are. I'm pretty sure I've met everybody here in person. If you're interested, I put together a few things that we could show. And if there's any questions people have that don't involve dinosaurs, we can handle that too.
I have a few questions about the unproven.
Yes, right, yeah. Still unproven, certainly.
You got to have two things to lean on just in case one gets stale.
That's right.
I think
so interestingly, we did, I think I told people this online the other day, we did a recent playtest session of Free Captains. And behind me is the big gaming table, we do all the playtesting. And Chris Jackson and I played a game. And the Unproven a unit of improvement is something different than a single improvement. So they were outnumbered 2-1 by a group of muster archers, but just handled them. So shields matter, you know. Having a D8 spear instead of a D4 dagger matters in hand-to-hand. You just have to live through the shot on the way in. So that went pretty well for the unproven side. We played a game of Captains Haradel versus Ergar. We're working out some of the final details before we make a playtest rule set, which was currently in progress. So let me just see if what I can show you guys here. Well, I'm going to try share screen here, buddy.
Okay. I don't know if I have to give you any type of permissions.
I don't know.
It would make sense that you did, being that you're a host. That way somebody, well, I guess not. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what, can you see the screen here? What do you see?
We do. We see.
Your desktop.
Yep.
So you see a Zoom box? Yeah, with a date time on it? Moving around.
No, we just see your desktop.
Yeah.
So the Zoom's not on there. Okay, good. All right. So do you see an image of a DGS Freeblades model?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
we see
we
see
move
your
some windows around so that this is easier for me to manipulate.
we see your screen, and on at least on the right side of mine is a vertical like film strip of the people in the chat.
Right. Yeah. I just moving out of the way so I can move this image around. So this is the Bone Thrall Impaler Kandoran cavalry model. Undead Rider, same weapon and shield as the Grular Impaler, because they all come from the same origin. You know, all the Simker peoples all started in the same place. So that's what that weapon is. So D8 impact and undead. So salty. The rules are in the playtest pack. And I'm not gonna. I would normally try to do my best to talk about when they're going to be released. But I don't. I can give you the close-in ones, but the further out ones, there's things happening that might alter that.
Yeah.
We've changed what next year's faction release is, and that's altering the schedule. We're going to absolutely be doing at least a model a month, and sometimes more. But we also don't know things like, is there going to be a Gen Con?
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't know. So that changes things just a little. 60,000 of our closest friends aren't going to be there. So
Right.
We don't know the answer to some of those questions, but we will. There's no reason to believe right now that we can't keep to at least a model a month, if not more. April is the Kuzark Lightbringer, which you've seen, should have seen, because Aaron painted it, right? Comes with two heads, a hooded head, which is a Lightbringer, and a kind of wild hair head, which is the to be the intent. Players can do whatever they want with it. The intent is that it is a dismounted Stoneclaw. And so he painted the second one to look like our display Stoneclaw, only on foot and not on the bear. So in addition, April, that same release includes magenta colored dice sets. Weirdly, our dice manufacturer is struggling with some colors. But they can add one for sure. So we'll have magenta available, but some of the more common colors are gonna be hard to get. Some of them are already out of stock on the website. But also the templates for earth magic and water magic. I don't have a photo yet, but I will post one soon once I get a photograph of them. But they're here at the warehouse.
Cool.
Eclipse Void Agent, kind of, if you're talking tactics, there's what we call backliners, casters, good hero archers. They're not in the front line of your free band. And so somebody goes and hunts them down. The current classic example of that is the Kuzark Field Agent.
Mm-hmm.
Very well suited for that role. And the Void Agent has a similar role, not quite exactly the same. She can do some other things. She is our first wild magic caster, which means a person who has some limited magical abilities but isn't a full-up caster. She can cast 1 of 3 first-level void magic spells. So later this year. So, you know, the Urtigar don't have enough salty stuff that's really fast, so let's put them on a wolf.
Sure.
Yeah, why not, right?
They're going to go slower.
That's right. So we'll have, this is basically, you know, the wolf who's absconded with a suit of Falcaran chainmail. Right, that's why he's an armor 5. So this guy will be less armored, but he'll have a big nasty wolf to ride around that also attacks and moves really fast and does some really cool things.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen it. One of my somewhat local players, he's moved to Joplin, Chris Page. He did that.
Yeah, he made a conversion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
This year's ReaperCon, if it goes off, the theme is pirates, and we're going to do a faction where all the nautical models can be in a faction together. And this is also, and I think I have the image, one of our first, not the first, but one of our first digital sculpts. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
That's very cool.
we are exploring, and the way the model is being manufactured, it'll come with a hat like that, one that's rougher, like it's been beat up, and the guy has a bald head, so you can put either hat on him or neither, you know. We are experimenting with a number of ways to make models and a number of ways to deliver models. Metal only is not going to be the future of this industry.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we want you to be able, so at some point, sometime down the road, you won't even buy a model. You'll buy an STL file and print it on your desktop printer. They'll be just like cell phones. They start out expensive. Few people have them. They're too large, bulky, you know, unreliable. And then they get reliable, they get smaller, and they get affordable.
Right.
And so we are moving to a better balance in terms of content versus model manufacturer and different ways to make these models and get them to you. So we're not leaving any stone unturned. We don't know what the future holds, but we know it holds, you know, getting the model to you the way you want to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, a lot of the things that allow us flexibility are to be able to do them where the sculpt is digital, not physical. And so we're transitioning to that method. And that's one of our examples. The K-Oral is actually the first model we did start to finish for the digital sculpt.
So this just may mean that I'm going to have to go from my FDM printer to a resin printer.
Yeah, right. I mean, we don't know exactly how it's all going to fall out. There's also, you know, print on demand delivery. Like you could go to the website and choose what you want. Well, you know how Hero Forge works,
right?
You know, you go to the website, you choose your medium, and you choose your model, and you can ship from a fulfillment center somewhere else besides us.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all kinds of things in the works. None of them are final, so I can't really tell you we're going to do X, Y, and Z, but all of them are on the table. You know, so this is one of the twins. Not quite done. The Armitage brothers, who you referred to earlier, have sponsored 2 models that are basically them and Phelan.
And Kevin just joined, I believe.
Yeah?
Yeah. He
So he's seeing this for the first time then. I don't have the full window open to show.
Yo, what is that?
What is that? What is that? Your damn brother is what it is.
That's Irvin.
It is. Yeah.
It's like he planned it.
I'm going to use these models to tell you apart. And that's what I'm planning.
How long has this chat been going on?
Since 8.
Half an hour.
Oh, dang it. I missed some of it.
You missed the introductions, and then John was the last one, so he's kind of.
Yeah, that's you, dude.
This is Bob.
Yeah.
But John.
He's talking to his brother.
Okay.
Sorry, I should mute my mic.
Yeah. So John's kind of going through and showing us some cool stuff.
So this is the current state of affairs for Irvlor, and we're making some modifications to it. we're not entirely on track in terms of time, but we're close. But we are really wanting to get the details right. You know, so for example, the shoes don't have soles. You know, they look like he's wearing socks. So, you know, there's little things that we're tweaking on this, and getting all the things that the Armitage brothers wanted to see on these models, make sure they show up. But we're pretty happy with how it looks, I got to tell you. I don't have any question which one that is when I see that.
Where's the good brother?
Yeah, he hasn't. Pat's going to give those photographs to us tomorrow, but I'll show them to you when we get them.
So they're going to be heroes for the Erdogar?
They are going to start out as allies to merchants. We're going to build a Thormanellan faction around them. The Thormanellans.
Ah, okay.
A country I haven't seen yet. I got more on that in just a second. So this is the Herodellin Cantor. The model is a priest that's not a Fist of Vidnar, so not in armor. So a similar spell list, not exactly the same, but a similar spell list. Little different capability, but not intended to join the battle after he's out of spell power, like the Fist of Vidnar is.
Yeah.
And comes with 2 heads, so you can have it be a guy or a girl.
All right.
Yep. So something we're experimenting with here, but you know, there are all kinds of Varanic priests. The Fist of Vidnar is like a sect of them. It's like warrior priests. That's why he's in, you know, plate armor and has a big warhammer. These are more out in the countryside in their churches type priests. So this is so it's definitely a Herodellin model. And then the Mershale Sea Ronin. So the Mershale are a nautical culture. Her and the Freebooter, the Black Cutlass, another model we got planned. We're all gonna, the Wind Shaper, they're all gonna form up into she'll be a Mershale faction hero, but she'll also be able to play in a pirate-based faction. So
that's great looking art.
You said a pirate-based faction?
Yes, that is a thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, it looks great.
Now let me just for you guys, let me just run back through them real quick. There's another one back here. So her, the Black Cutlass is another one of the Black Rose's lieutenants. We've never done her, so we don't have any art to show. This guy here. So the Freebooter is also, it's a business thing. This model is our Reaper Con release because the Reaper Con 20 theme is pirates. So, and that is another digital sculpt like the twins are, like the K-Oral, like some other stuff that we're working on.
And that's a Mershale model?
This? The Freebooter, no.
Oh, okay. But he can ally with Mershale?
They can be in the pirate faction together. They can be in the Black Cutlass together.
Oh, I can't wait. Awesome.
Yes, you're going to have to wait. That's going to be a thing. So I got 2 more things to show you real quick, if you guys don't mind. One is this. I don't know how visible this is. You see a WA at the top of the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a page from World Anvil. It is a online. It's designed to support role playing, but it's there's a lot of capability in it. World builder service, and all of our content is being loaded into this. I don't know what you call it. Site. This website. You know,
almost a wiki.
Yeah. Well, essentially it is because, for example, more and more. This is really a rough draft. This is basically what you're looking at is the combination of the text from the Falcaran section of the website and the Falcaran faction book. We're not going to do faction books anymore. All of this information is going to be in one place. But the good news is a lot of these things, as every day goes by, more and more of them become live links. So if you're having a discussion about the Falcaran military and you start talking about foresters, this is already a place where there's a link. You can click on it and it will take you to the Forester entry.
Mhm.
Talk about Foresters, show you some art, take you to the website to buy one.
Yeah.
You know, we're our business. Where the other articles that are associated with the Forester will be over here on the right. Right now, it's just Kingdom of Falkar because it's the only place he's found, but there'll be more here as time goes on. And if he's found in a fiction story, or if he's, you know, an article about, you know, a particular Forester or a character, those will all start showing up here on the right. And then his stats, plus all of his talents. Now, there's a lot of little rough things here. One is, this is all, you know, the stat talent blocks are all crushed, you know, over on the left-hand side. And not all of these things are live. These dice should be live die rolls. I should be able to click on them and have it roll the die for me. So this site can help a game master and a player play online.
Cool.
Role playing. Then all of the talents are linked. Obviously, in this particular case, they're all going to take you to the same place because they're already here for you. And there'll be a link to just a stat card that looks like the one you get in the model stat cards now. You know, the downloads from the website. So all of this is going to go on there. A great deal of it will be free. And then there'll be levels that you can subscribe to it where you can get things early or participate in world building with us.
Nice.
Depending on what level you are. But all of this stuff, you need to know who these people are and know who the models are and know what all the rules are. And the basic background to fail on is all going to be free access to anyone. So it's a huge project, though. I mean, it's basically 40 years of background. So, and we don't have 40 years to input it. So we're crashing. You know, a couple of people came onto the team just as much to be part of this as anything else because it takes so many people to make it happen. But you know, Matt Green is our lead for this, and he's been doing a huge amount of work. So we aren't that far from being able to let the free part into the wild. And then we'll tease the kinds of things you get if you're a subscriber. And of course, even the free part's going to constantly grow. We won't do things like release articles at Hollaresh and Gavahall like we used to. We will have a little celebration online on World Anvil, and things will get thicker. You know, the more stuff you can find, and it solves the problem of our fluff is all over the map right now. It's really hard to find, really, in 100 different places, not user friendly. And the whole idea is you can just start clicking your way through what you're interested in. Pick a kingdom, go to its cities, see the cities on a map, see the cities that are involved in an adventure. Like if Matt Gooch writes Into the Darkness will be an adventure on here, and it will reference all these locations that are part of the adventure and also part of the background at the same time. So you have basically all this background information available as you're game mastering one of these games or doing whatever. So
very cool.
That is a big project. So one more thing. This is, if you can see it, the draft of the Free Captains Command Board. Right now, this is the basic version. Right now, what happens is when you buy a Free Captains Army, you have a captain, hence the name, you know, and they have a company, and the company is made up of units of the troop types you know and love right now: unproven pikemen, you know, seafarers from the Marshall and untamed from the Eclipse. All those, you know, form into units, and all the heroes that are 2 or 3 wounds form into elite units. I think during the play test the other day, we had a Haradellin captain, a unit of Knights of Vaslar, you know, the mounted knights, a unit of Threshers with an apprentice knight sergeant, and a unit of muster archers, I want to say. And the Urgar had a unit of Night Hunters, a unit of Boar Warriors, a unit of Slingers, and a unit of Unproven, and they had a captain. And the captains get 3 command points, and before the game, you secretly write down where you're going to put your 3, and they can be 1 on a space or 2 on a space or 3 in a space. Then you place them based on what you said you were going to do. If you have the most points on a space, you get that power. So the other day I put 2 on war making and 1 on mobility, I think, because I had a woods to get through. And Chris put them on something else. So my extra point on war making was wasted because I really wanted it for my Night Hunter shot. And then at the start of every turn, you can move one of those points around in initiative order. And it played great, So it played just the way we wanted it to. We've been messing with this for a little while, but, it really forced some hard decisions. He threw, my Night Hunters were shooting at his knights, and he threw a point on sabotage and killed off their accurate shot. So they had to throw a bow at armor 6. And the only way I could stop that was to throw a command point on sabotage to block it, So the little tactical choices, and it didn't take long at all. Very quick phase at the start of the turn, and boom, you were done. And then we could also change it. Certain captains can get an extra command point, or they can change one of the squares on the board, or we'll mess with all that once we have the basics working. So those rules, the playtest set has begun. We have begun writing the playtest set of the rules for free captains. So we're going to get those because people spent some money to make free captains units. We want to give them a rule set to tinker with. And so those lists and rules are being written right now. Well, no, I'm hanging out with you dudes right now, but that's one of the main projects we have right now is getting that done. So that's what I have to show you.
John, do you envision for free captains it being a little more focused on follower models as far as a model count than hero models? Or
that's a good question. Right now, the way the army lists are designed, you have to have 1-to-1.
Okay.
So for every elite unit, which is the hero units, you have to have a follower unit. Seems to be good balance, There might be exceptions for specific lists. We aren't that far along to know that, but we've been working with that for a little while. So it's going to be like any other game of that type. Do you want numbers, or do you want a handful of elites that have staying power? We also want to keep the unit sizes similar to games like Saga Age of Magic, games that are fantasy skirmish games but don't care where you get the models, so we can
sorry to interrupt.
Buy ours.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Irvin's just trying to get in, and it says some moderator has to approve his request to come in.
Yes, and I haven't seen anything up here.
He hasn't seen it, Irvin. Well, sucks to suck.
That's some brotherly love right there. That's what that is.
Let me send him a Facebook. That's Irvin.
Probably didn't roll high enough on his initiative check.
Yeah, he got that torch. Yeah, it's Irvin Armitage.
Oh, man.
All right. So I sent the link to Irvin, and he'll have to check his other folders or his message requests. But yeah, I get a little notification at the bottom when somebody wants to.
Sorry, I've derailed you, John.
No, you're fine. No, we'd like people to join us. That's fine. Totally fine. And I will that image we showed of the the sculpt of Urglor. I'll send that to you guys in that chat we have after this, so you see it.
Sounds good.
We're still messing with it, so it's not done. But
have you told them about the faction rules for that army yet, or are you not doing that today?
Well, how much do you want me to tell them?
You can share whatever you think is fine.
Do you want me to tell them where it's all coming from?
Yeah.
Okay, so the brothers are going to end up sponsoring an entire faction based around these 2 models. So it's the 2 twin right now, because we're play testing and whatever. It's the 2 twins. The starter part of it is the 2 twins, a caravan leader on a camel, because that's awesome. A caster that's a spirit caster like the Enchantress, not exactly the same, but in terms of the magic's similar. And then 2 warhounds. The followers are beefy war dogs.
Mastiff looking.
Yes. Don't have any art yet. Just started talking about it. Gonna give Bill. Oh, okay. What is this?
It looks to me like a head of a camel.
Head of a camel. Yeah. That's our art director. Very talented, not great with audio.
Irvin, can you we don't want to look at your magic cards here.
Magic, please come.
We have been playing Magic via webcam because we're not allowed to leave our house.
Oh, right.
You're grounded.
Sure.
Yeah, I think everybody's grounded.
There's no COVID in Canada
And I think
at all.
I
but you
think
just
my
can't leave.
favorite. Do you want to tell them the faction rule, or is that kind of?
No, go ahead. That's your baby. Go ahead.
I don't want to do this.
You opened your mouth. Go for
The
it.
faction rule is I'm going to read it just so I don't butcher it. 1 second here.
If you're an Armitage and you play this, you automatically win the game.
That's the faction rule.
Sorry.
Need a little leg up there, boys? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't have the sheet loaded.
Oh, I have it here somewhere.
You just sent it to me.
I thought we're supposed to be painting right now. I thought this was the point of this.
Yeah, we didn't all know each other, so we said hello and
John showed all the good stuff.
yeah.
I heard I made an appearance even though I wasn't here.
Who was that?
Yeah, that was Irvin's avatar there.
I was gonna say he's making a play on the fact that his model got
Oh.
shown off.
Yeah, it did. You were here and
Hey,
and Phelan, but
Nice one, Chris.
I've been painting.
There we go. I found it.
you got the free band led by the caravan leader. Whoops. Screen challenge. Hold on.
I said,
All right.
I do have
Fat fingers.
Says,
A free band led by a caravan leader may recruit its non-leader caster models from its own faction list and from one of the following, which is a lot of them, but not all. Falcarin, Herodellin, Erdegar, Valor, Omen, Koronin, Kandoran, Kazar, Gular, Barkralin, and Simidian. The free band assembly rules for the models from this faction also apply. The free band may not contain non-humanoid models, so it can't hire Kandor, Crykes Reapers, or Awakened or something. But
so the caster is. Oh, am I echoing? I'm echoing on you guys. Mute your mic, Urban. All right, sorry about that. The caster and so if I understand this right, which I hope I do, the caster and the leader
He probably
has to
doesn't.
come. The caster and the leaders have to come from Thermolian, but then all of your followers and other heroes can come from one specific faction. So it's kind of like they're true merchants, right? So they just hire everybody else to do their bidding, and then only the big guys are in charge. Now, granted, I believe Ervlor and Keldon should always be played in that faction, just because I think you have to.
I think we can. I think we can make it that way.
No, you don't have to make it that way, but yes.
So it's very ancient Carthage. Hire an army, but have your leaders be Carthaginian.
I don't know what that
something
is.
like that, yeah.
I just took a picture of my screen with my phone so that way I can put it out there on Facebook and make everybody jealous.
There you
So
go.
John, that package, I get all my packages delivered to my work now because we live in like a co-op, so we don't want anything left on our front steps because people just take it. And I got my package of the models we bought from the Adepticon sale the day from Dan, and my boss goes, "What are those?" And I go, "There's more models." She's like,
More.
"Oh, that's a lot of toys." And she goes, "How much did that cost?" And I said, "I don't want to tell you."
That's funny. I haven't had anything shipped to work yet, but it may happen at some point.
Yeah, we used to live in a house, and then our landlord had to sell the house, so we rented a co-op, and it's a nice co-op, but like if anything gets left on my front step, there's a lot of people that walk by my front step. So
Yeah.
and and it's just always somebody at work 24/7.
We have a long walkway from the street to the front door, where there's a lot of, a lot of stuff being dropped off. It's mailed here, but also stuff that's sent out of here. And let's just say that the fields of fire are very clear. You don't want to be that guy trying to take something off my porch.
We're in Canada. We can't do that.
Yeah, so it's one of the good things about being in the middle of America. It's just not done here. The neighborhood I live in is you're either retired military or a corrections officer.
Oh, wow.
So this would be the place where cops films somebody trying to pull off a crime because they're obviously an idiot.
Yeah, our neighborhood's not shady or anything. It's just easy to steal. Irvin, you need to mute your mic when you're not talking. It's just the way it is. If a package is left on a porch that's easily accessible, the odds are it's gonna get taken eventually.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to my neighbor, more than 6 feet away today, and we were standing there, and we look off to the side, and there's this van, and it's got gridded windows and mirrors all the way around it. It says corrections, and it wasn't, it didn't say anything about our local police department or anything. It's just this dark blue van, and it said corrections. They're like, what are they doing? Or did they lose somebody or what?
Did they ask you if you wanted some candy?
No. Maybe they were trying to find somebody to offer candy to. Since we were together, it didn't seem like a good time to do that.
Well, since we're talking models, I'll show you what I've been working on and finishing up for the exchange. This is a Mizraki that I used a sorcerer for, and I did a full-on conversion for him.
Nice.
So my guy's going to enjoy that. Something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of the exchange, we have 27 people in it this time. So I think at Christmas we'll hit probably 40-ish, something around that.
Yeah, I'll participate if I see it.
Well, if you want to participate in this one, you could take my spot. I'm running it, so I don't mind. Like you basically you just paint for the guy I have, and the guy that's painting for you will get me, and we'll get you instead. I'm happy to do that for you if you want.
Yeah. Is it a secret thing? Like we don't know who's doing what, or is it?
Yeah,
okay.
I know what everybody's doing, but basically I'm in it, so I could just give you my spot. I'm fine with doing that.
I got myself.
That happens.
Nobody got themselves.
Well, unless there's some other cool stuff going on or anything else, the idea was that we sit down and paint. And I think I did hear Jennifer, she, when she was talking about the camel. So we haven't heard from her except for that little bit.
I think I finally figured out how to hook up my mic.
Yay! Woohoo!
I've had the kids playing on this since they've been home from school, and so things get switched without anyone telling me what happened.
Of course. Yeah. I saw I don't know, stupid meme or something, and it said parents are going to get an understanding that it's not the teacher's fault or something like that about kids' behavior.
Right, and my kids are good, but just 3 of them in a house on lockdown. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joys of being single. I ain't got to worry about none of that.
Mine are getting older now, so it's getting a little bit better.
Yeah. My teenager's the one that gives me the most trouble.
Right.
Well, I haven't decided what I'm working on tonight. I did put some Army Painter plate mail down on a wet palette. Like I said, it's been since late February since I've painted, so I really didn't have anything out. But I think I'm going to work on this gentleman. Of course, you can't see, but I posted it up, one of the last models I was working on.
There you go.
But need to get some chainmail color going on in the helmet and some other things.
I got a 250 gold Trillian list I want to build and paint up. It's a Blade Rider first, 2 Blade Riders, 2 Talistars, and 3 Guardians at 250 exactly.
Nice. I don't think I've ever built.
That check?
Well, let me just check the math before we.
I'm pretty sure it works out. I'm pretty sure
Sounds
it works
good.
out.
It sounded good. It did.
Are the Talistars mounted or not?
Oh, mounted. Come on, you gotta have 5 mounted.
If they're mounted, I know those two are 44 apiece, I believe.
My math. I'm pretty sure my math is
Blade
good.
Riders.
That hasn't
Blade
always
Riders
proved true.
Yeah, the Blade Riders.
I mean,
are
it's
each
proved.
around 40.
It's proved less true than not. More.
Wow,
Yes,
good
than
thinking.
not.
Killing
I
that
think
thinking,
you're
Irvin.
off by just a
No,
little.
hold on. Did I hear a caster, Kevin?
No caster.
Yeah. See, there's only 5 heroes there, right? Blade Rider first, 2 Blade Rider, 2 Tal Centaur, and 3 Guardians. That does actually sound right because there's a low follower count, no caster. So sounds good, but trust but verify.
Whatever you do, don't give that list idea to Chris Jackson. He'll.
He's he's. In fact, a list of Blade Riders, Tal Centaur, and Guardians is Chris Jackson.
Exactly.
That's where they come from. So.
All right, 1 second here.
I used Army Builders.
Stargazer was patterned after his role-playing character in the role-playing game I ran when we first met. In fact, speak of a classic screen share. Hold on. While you guys are chatting, I'm going to go dig something up. Just give me 1 second. Oh, yeah. You'll love this.
The crazy thing about Trillions is I feel like there's about 900 different ways I could take a Trillion army.
I've not tried to build one. I don't have any of the models, but you feel like there's many different ways to build a Trillion list.
Oh, yeah. That
Actually, sorry.
I think would work.
47 for the leader, 37 for the 2 Blade Riders, 46 for each Tal Star, 13 for each of 3 Guardians, put you at 249 points. So I was wrong. It was 1 point under 250.
So you got 1 point to give your leader Book of Lore, just in case you have a end phase knowledge test it needs to do.
Yeah, I just hope I don't come up against too many loot markers, because then it might not be so hot.
Or Americans.
Well, I mean, we want
Ooh.
I'm not diving into that one.
That's all right. You guys can have the game. We'll take the hobby.
It doesn't matter.
That's the thing, though. That's you guys as a nation did really well there, no doubt. No doubt.
As long as I beat BJ, I was happy.
But if you don't have the game, what's the point of the hobby?
I'll give you guys a look at what I've been working on so far tonight. I don't know if it's going to show up in this.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Interesting. Pretty cool.
Almost looks like you're in an office setting there, Roger.
Oh, BJ's definitely at work.
Or not Roger, BJ.
Yeah, I'm definitely at work.
BJ, are you playing 40K on Tabletop Strategy?
I'm building free blades for Tabletop Simulator, buddy.
Oh, that's
Nice.
cool.
BJ has a hard job. Very hard job.
I do have a hard job, Kevin.
I see the sweat.
You mentioned it. What do you do?
I'm a team leader for a SWAT team at a nuclear plant. But we don't do a lot.
You could. That's the important part.
I think I'm pleased to hear that.
We're just waiting for things to happen.
He has a job because the government made nuclear plants get SWAT teams after 9/11.
That's right.
That's important.
So he rides a desk hoping nothing happens. That's a good
He's
job.
literally in the middle of nowhere.
You need
This
to come.
nuclear plant's in the middle of nowhere.
You need to come here to Burlington in Kansas and be closer to us.
Yeah. Ontario's a bit far away from Kansas.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, when all the travel restrictions are done, come on down, Canadians. We'll
It's a 22-hour drive.
fly.
Yeah, Kansas City has an international airport.
Yeah.
I'm too cheap to pay for flights. Also, one thing Canada has over the States is our flights are like 2.5 times the amount your flights are.
Ouch.
That's because Canadian money is inflated to no end.
Okay, kids, let's get along. Hey, so check this out. The person in the blue and red striped shirt. Can you see this picture?
We
Yeah.
can.
That's
Is
Chris
that-
Jackson.
Holy mackerel.
How long ago was this taken?
That guy with the John Lennon glasses sitting next to him is me. So
That's
this
awesome.
is 19.
Is that a?
1990? Shit.
I was going to ask if that was a Commodore 64 in the background.
Close. Yeah, it's close.
Did you say 1990 shit?
That's right. Yeah. So what's interesting about this picture is another story here that I didn't notice until just now when I blew it up. But that's a copy of Europa. Do you guys know the old board game Europa?
Yep.
I don't know. It's that we're playing the version that's the Eastern Front, so it's Germans and Russians.
Is that anything similar to what's now the video game Europa Universalis?
I do not know the answer. Don't know.
Because it's a war game, so I just didn't.
Yeah, so it's old school, little cardboard counters and hexagons. And stuff, But so we said that we were going to all those counters in that game are little counter magnets, and the map's on a piece of sheet metal, right? Otherwise, one wrong cat move and everything's over.
Yeah.
So we got right before this picture. This is towards the end of the game. There's a group of us. There's like 10 players. Whoever took the picture is the other part of the room.
They probably already lost.
Maybe. So anyway, we had one guy who was a little, I don't know, literal, maybe is the right answer. And we said, hey, we need to have a party to tear this thing down when the time comes. And he said, oh, we're going to have a party. What should I bring? And I said, I don't know, Doc, a bottle of Mad Dog, joking.
Right.
But you can see it sitting on the windowsill.
It looks full.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's a little ancient gaming history. But I ran a Middle Earth game at the time, and Chris's character is essentially what became the Stargate.
Oh.
So,
was it Middle Earth role playing or a different rule set?
Well, no, it used the Iron Crown Enterprises Middle Earth background stuff because it's awesome.
Yeah.
But the rules that became Brightsword.
Okay. So can I ask you a game mechanic question, sort of, kind of?
You can ask me anything you like. It's as long as Bob's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Doesn't bother me. It's
Sure.
It's being recorded.
One of the things you highlighted in the new rule book was cleaning up the way special actions worked, so there was more synergy between Brightsword and Free Blades, and you thought it made kind of the return sequence move a little more smoothly. I wondered, in reading that, it didn't really jump out to me what the major differences were. So could you maybe give an example?
Yeah, sure. So, for example, there was a class of actions in the game, Free Blades, called end phase actions, right?
Yeah.
And they had a nature all of their own. They weren't exactly special actions. In fact, you could do a special action and an end phase action, right?
Okay.
Which meant that, the idea behind the special action is, and the reason why you can't also shoot or run is like a lot of role-playing games, so they all handle it differently. Sometimes you get two actions, and if they're both moves, you ran, basically,
Right.
We went the other way, it's you can do this if you can do this other thing. So we were finding that if we were trying to replicate, if we tried to have the ability to move a character through all the game systems, you could be a free captain's leader, a role-playing adventure character, a member of a free band, whether it was Free Blades or Free Blades Encounters, and back and forth, then your rules had to be, consistent. And there was this thing called an end phase action, which a role-playing character would just do, right? So if you were smashing a nest or trying to solve the riddle of the Witch Gate or take the test in Trials of Gravis, you would be doing that as a role-playing character as a special action. But we needed it to happen in the end phase for a lot of reasons, not worth going into probably. But so we just changed it so that it, this action that you do to close the witch gate in demon infestation is a special action. It just happens in the end phase. So if you've already done one, you're not eligible.
Okay.
You've already shot your bow, you're not eligible, right? And that doesn't really, some theory crafters might claim that, oh no, the game's changed. I can't play Trials of Gravity the same way. I'm like, dude, you weren't even playing Trials of Gravity. You played 50 skirmishes in a row. So, but it really.
Is that a shot there, John?
Who? What? Guilty conscience? I don't know. So, we do. I will say though, that was kind of a snarky thing to say, but I do. I can't tell you how many times we've been at a tournament or an event where somebody says, we're sitting around BSing like the week before, I can't wait for the new rulebook to come out because, I want a new scenario. The game's getting kind of stale. I need to play some new scenarios. Then we get to the tournament the following Saturday, and they're like, so what do you do in, pick one, doesn't really matter. What do you do in Frontier? I've never played this one before. Or Treasure Hunt. I never played Treasure Hunt before. Really? It, came out in the original rulebook in 2012. So we do, and as gamers, we're all that way. We kind of go with we get down to the game store, it's after work, we're getting our friends together, what are we going to play? Something complicated is generally harder to put onto the table. So we're trying to make that as easy for people as possible. But anyway, Roger, your question, it just makes it so that when we write the rules for special actions, they read the same way in both games. And you don't need another class of action that is just weird where you get to do two of them. Why would that be the case, So.
Okay.
And a lot of the things in 20-1 were changes to smooth out the, language, target friendly model, blah, blah. It's a lot of words for friend,
Mm-hmm.
And so it wouldn't be target friendly model if it was a bunch of you sitting around a table in a role-playing game. So we did a lot of things in there to smooth that out. Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
The mechanical change is if you're going to do an end phase action the way it was before 20-1, you could have done other things and then been next to the trial or the witch gate or whatever it is and still had that opportunity. That's no longer true. That is a change in the way the game works. The person who says, hey, the last time I played Trials, I got a shot off my Forster, killed a follower, repositioned into the gate and turned it off, you're awesome. Is my answer. But that's not, we're not going to change the game because that happened once. It's way easier now. There's one kind of action. Sometimes it happens in this phase, sometimes it happens in that phase.
Okay.
I guess, is it Q&A time for John?
That's totally okay with me. I just don't want to take away from what you were trying to do there.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm painting now. Since we're...
You are, and I'm not, man.
So,
damn it. I got a Ricticar to paint.
So I was kind of curious in Free Blades, and maybe you've got the idea in other games, or there are no specifically named characters, like nobody has names. And that's obviously a specific design choice.
That's sort of true and sort of not true.
I mean, there's specific titles, but no names. Like it's not George.
I believe I've seen some units that have names.
Yeah, the Black Rose, she has a name in her story. It's not how she's listed in the rulebook. Bob's right about that, right?
Yeah.
It's not Aerolus. It's the Black Rose. It's not Akavan. It's the Duelist. But those are actually named people. It's why you can't be both the Duelist and the Blackthorn, because it's the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that grown-up epic version becomes a Thorn. So they're going to see more of that. I think it might be, and I'll have to think about this, Jennifer, I can think about this. I think Keldan and Ervlor might be the very first named characters that show up that way in Stat Line.
There is isn't there a Trazorite guy with a blowpipe?
The elite, there are some elite characters and options. That's true.
No, I thought this guy was available. Saladin or whatever his name is?
That's right.
He's only in options?
He's in options.
Okay, cool. Never mind then.
The Viper Veteran is the generic. Is not the best word, but the generic.
2 of us is already enough. You don't need more than 2 of us.
Yeah. I was just curious. I've thought about it for a long time, and I've just never thought of asking. And
See, the thing to me about naming characters is it kind of takes some of the open scale of the game away. But it's kind of weird how that works in my head. Is like if you give something a predetermined name, it pulls creativity away from the person themselves to have the fun of deciding, hey, I want it to be this, so on and so forth. But like, I feel like you kind of, when you start giving names, your stories start to then be pulled into a central orbit around a general idea, and it doesn't leave as much freedom to be as inventive as you want.
Yeah, I'm with Josh. We're not going to do 0, but if you have a questing night, it's your questing night. And if you don't want to paint it the way it shows in the store, you want to tell your own story, you want to have your own county, or manor house that he defends, give him a name. That's exactly why it's that way. And when people make their campaign free bands, and give them all names.
Yeah, and at the same time, even once there's more named characters in the game, you don't have to call it by that name.
No,
if you want to play Freeblade, you can only have one of those models in your army because of the rules constraint. But it doesn't have to be Keldon or Urglar. It could be whatever you want, and you can give it a complete backstory.
Yeah,
Because when you play it in a non-tournament setting, which is really a campaign setting, is we just actually the first campaign my brother and I played in was this world campaign. We've just run and done tournaments before, so we're doing the one that Matt's putting out, Gooch, and it is fun to make up your own models. But just because there's a name and a set backstory doesn't mean you have to stick with that.
That's right. Speaking of, just one second, speaking of Matt, because you brought him up, I actually did my painting earlier today, because what I'm doing what I was doing before I signed in, what I'm doing after, we are writing a solitaire scenario. That will eventually, you can play it with other people, but a lot of us can't right now because we can't leave our homes. But or places of business, which is what this is. So we're gonna, that's what he and I have been doing today, this afternoon. It's basically a treasure hunt with NPCs that are trying to stop you, and a magic item, a little better than a magic item in the book, not quite an artifact, but definitely better than the ones in the tables in the book that you're trying to find, and a little story that goes with it, and we hope those, inspire the people that are running campaigns out in their game stores and their communities to do their own, and part of what World Anvil is designed to do is you want to buy into a subscription, you get to come and do it where it ends up in the world eventually, as part of something that becomes canon, essentially.
In regards to Word Anvil, John, you said there is different tiers. Can you explain a bit more about that cost and then what each different tier will give, or you don't have that yet?
I am not going to talk about cost. That's Julie's baby. So
okay, well, maybe just what each tier gives above the rest.
And even that I think isn't settled. I can tell you generally. I just I don't want to be pinned down, because that's Matt Green and Julie work in that specific part of the structure. I'm not currently involved in that. But as I understand it, there's a level where there's 3 levels after just open. The top is World Builder, where you are participating and actually telling the story. The one thing we've always wanted to do that we've never quite gotten to do, I don't want to go into the dirty laundry part, but the company had an enormous setback in 2014 and 2015, right when things were starting to get rolling, big explosion. Then Julie comes in and saves us. So we're kind of behind where we wanted to be because we had to sort of restart things. We want to pick a point in the story of Phalon, in the background of Phalon, and then start carrying the story forward from that point with, a narrative. And these are the things that are happening in the background of the world. It's not static, So right now, Queen Jarissa is the Queen of Falkar, but we haven't done anything with that yet. It's just a name sitting out there. but what happens, what wars happen, what intrigues happen, what adventure possibilities are there, and we're going to move that forward. And then the world builder level, we'll be revealing that to the people that are at that level and saying, where do you want to play in this sandbox? Where do you want to be helping us pick what happens to this castle or how this character's story plays out and whatever. Then in between that and all the way open are two others. And one is like game master level and one is player level, early release material and things that help you play the game beyond just what's commonly known about the world. I don't think that's defined enough more than that for me to be able to tell you right now. I know that's the plan, but I don't think we have a better resolution than that.
Perfect. That gives us more information. And you probably don't have an answer for this, but I figured I'd ask it anyways. You had mentioned that the free part of it is going to be rolling out at some capacity soon enough, but when do you think like this whole thing will be ready to go? It doesn't have to be an exact date, couple months, end of the year.
I think before all this stuff happened with the pandemic, we were looking at early summer for the open part and a little bit later in the year for the subscriber levels. For example, if you're in the game master level, we're gonna put adventures out there that everybody can use, right? And I need to move my the window I'm looking at so it's near the camera, so I'm not looking off.
I know I've got my painting glasses on because I can't
Right,
see anything up close. My cheaters.
Yeah, that's a little better. One of the things we're trying to do is write adventures in the future so that they can be played free blades encounters, or Brightsword, and you can choose. So they're going to come with maps of locations, the free blades version, which is a scenario that you can play one-on-one, the encounters version where you can play where you're the free band collectively, as your group of players against the system, and then the information the game master needs to run that as an adventure in Brightsword. And so some of those are going to come to the game master level long before they ever come out in the open. And so somebody with that level of access gets that really early, and then after it's played out, another one comes online. That one goes into the vault for anybody to use, and the game master level gets a different one. I might be talking out of turn. I want to be held to that because
no, obviously it's just
my job is to write these adventures, not to worry about what.
Yeah, for sure. When I was researching my Mercial display board and trying to figure out a backstory for that, I read everything available on Mercial, and it wasn't a whole lot. So I'm just excited to see the expanded fluff because it's weird. I used to play a ton of 40K and other games, so I was never really into the fluff until I started Free Blades, where I really got into it, especially building this diorama now. So I was like, I kept bugging Matt for more, and he said it's coming, so I was just excited for that.
He's right about that, but we're writing as fast as little writers can write. There's a lot of blanks out there to fill. There's factions that have been around longer in terms of us telling the story, or I run a long-standing Brightsword playtest campaign, right? So the places those people have been are much more detailed than the places just sort of out in the world somewhere. If they've been to this city, we have a city map and we have who's in charge and all the kinds of, things that are going on there. And if they haven't been there yet, we don't have it to that level of detail, so all get done.
Because I read the Mercial synopsis you have on the website there. There's two of them, two small ones. And it was interesting talking about, the government organization of the Mercial Kingdom, and then it talks about, the mayoral and how it breaks down. It was just interesting to see where that can go from there.
Yeah, then at some point we're going to tell you the story of why they came here from somewhere else.
In their mysterious ships that nobody know about anymore.
That's right. So
sounds like you just need to get Kevin into a Brightsword game, and then he's going to be like, Where's the location that's not fleshed out? We're going there.
Oh,
I got plenty of players that do that already.
Matt had to invent some stuff for me for my display board. I was bugging Matt the whole time I was making it. I needed names. He needed to come up with a name for the Kraken model so I could put that into my story, and names of my ship and all this. So it was pretty cool to just bug him to create stuff.
let me just say something from a business perspective. And I know this isn't the fun part of what we do, but we turned the Brightsword playtest rules into a beta that everybody could use, and pulled it all together and put it online, and received $0.
Yeah.
Now we want to do stuff like that, but we can't do everything like that and exist as a business. We'll die, right? So the subscriber levels will seem sometimes like.
And he's frozen.
John, you froze on us.
Subscriber levels. I'm done.
Frozen in time. Carbonite over here.
That's funny.
It's almost like Irvin's profile picture over there. It's just, static.
Well, he's in a tank top, and he doesn't want to show you his loveliness in his paint-stained tank top.
Yeah, we appreciate that, I'm sure.
Oh, come on, give us the tickets to the thumbs up.
You can see you'll have a pair of busty twins on your screen.
Unleash the pythons.
I'm going to have to pay attention to see if I have to admit John back into the...
Yeah, somebody should message him that he froze.
He's gone now.
He gone.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I was
Corona
gonna
got
ask
him.
I was going to ask him about historicals. He's got my interest peaked with that, and also I was talking to Matt Gooch about Brightsword and playing that. I started trying to roll a character, and then I got confused because the character creation module, it jumps around a little bit, and I just got lost in it trying to follow it. I'm like, okay, where do I go from here? And then it's like, oh, okay, and then I got to go back up here, and then just try it. Yeah.
Yeah, I myself am still very new to like role playing D&D type. I just started our first campaign this year with some buddies, a bunch of new guys, and then so I'm not at the point where I can play Brightsword yet, but eventually.
I
stoked.
understand it, but I just, like I said, I'm lost in it, and I have to have somebody explain it to me, and then I'll completely understand it. Just like with Freeblades, if I had tried to jump in just by watching and then play it myself, completely would have been lost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty stoked to try and get some traction with encounters. I feel like that would be a really good way to draw casual players in initially.
Mm-hmm.
If you can say, hey, let's sit down and play this encounter, you control one or two minis, if they can get a taste for enjoying it,
So,
you think it would be.
If I ever get around to it and I actually have the money, I wanted to create a forest-themed game board based around the Trillion and the forest that they come from and all that.
You need a 3D printer, my friend. That'll make your job so much easier.
I was actually going to make it out of real trees.
Oh.
Not real trees, but branches and such.
You'll have to follow Luke. Was it Luke?
Already did.
Yeah, and make the realistic trees like that.
Luke Towan. Yeah, Luke Towan paper cuts spelled with an E in the middle of the word.
Here's my
Bargecraft?
Yeah, several of them I watch.
Yeah, if you're not following Bargecraft, check them out. Not only has he got some pretty decent stuff that he makes for cheap, but he does it with a kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Zorp Gaming. He does Lord of the Rings stuff a bunch of times. He's pretty good too.
I think it was the channel Paper Cuts that made a extremely nice, it was a jungle wood tree, so it was a little bit different, but he made this tree out of a old dried out branch, basically some cord. You could use just about anything, and then he wrapped it in toilet paper, used scenery glue to wet the toilet paper down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, wow. And by the end of it, it looked like a tree. You couldn't actually tell that it was none of it was actual tree. It was just crazy.
Yeah, you have to decide, do I want to spend 2 or 3 hours on this one tree to make it look amazing?
Right.
2 or 3 hours on 5 trees to... I've built
John
a
just sent me
few.
a message saying that he's going to try and get back on here in just a second.
Okay.
Well, if I'm gonna build a board like that, I'm probably gonna spend the time on each individual part and making it actually look really good.
I'm not a very good terrain crafter myself. I 3D printers what I would do to make a board like that. But then again, some people do it for the hobby. BJ makes all these crazy boards. I
love making terrain.
Since you're talking about 3D printing, have you seen printable sceneries? They're trees with a bunch of platforms and.
Oh yeah, I have a whole set of them printed up actually.
Yeah, awesome.
But I was going to paint for Adepticon, and then I wasn't going to paint for Adepticon because my display board took me far too long.
Yeah.
I'm chomping at the bit. I want to do a really detailed city a la like an old Mordheim board. I find that I'm fascinated with like most game tables are very flat. And I think I want to put something together that has a lot of level changes. And I think a city would lend itself pretty cool.
Like, are you talking about scratch building stuff or 3D printing it?
Probably some of both. I've got a 3D printer, but just something that has a lot of, elevation changes and little cubby holes to hide in, things like that.
Yeah, the printable scenery elf set that, I don't know who just mentioned it, that has all of that. It has like walkways and stuff, and you can like connect buildings. Printable scenery is actually a great website all around.
What Jennifer and Matt Budney, what table and terrain is it that John has or Matthew has that they set out that has the walkways and stuff?
Oh, you're talking about the one with all the rocks and stuff with the walkways that always keep falling down that they need to magnetize?
I have never played on it in any of the tournaments. I just see, other people playing, and I can't remember.
It's not bad. I played on it a couple tournaments ago when I took my mount on Grular. And what they need to do is magnetize all the bridges and stuff. So that way there it makes it a lot easier to move your models without them all falling down.
Yeah.
But it's a great map or a great terrain set.
All those climb tests can be fun. And if you fail one and suddenly lose a model that you weren't anticipating, it definitely adds another layer.
But I think
lava map. And they have to be on the levels so you don't fall into the lava.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think for I said like having a real complicated board is great, and having a good amount of terrain is apparently John requested there, Bob. He said Bob has to let me in.
Yep. I got my cheater glasses on.
So like
you can't see.
Yeah, so the issue with boards like that for tournaments is there's a time limit, and the more things you add to a tournament type setting, the longer the games will take and will come to a natural conclusion. So I think some level of interactivity with the board and different levels is good, but once you get like into real scenic and stuff, I think it would just take too long for tournament games at that point.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've seen John do, or at least had with some of his boards, is he'll have a printout of, okay, this terrain is this terrain does that. So it's an easy reference for all the players there. So it cuts down a lot of questions and arguments, and you can enjoy the terrain without it being bogged down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
All right, John, you're at the unfortunate business standpoint of this.
Yeah, John, you started talking about money and they kicked you.
Why is that? So the otherwise long time, very reliable. So did I lose my connection, or did I need more pizza? It's hard to tell.
Why does it have to be one or the other?
It's not. It was both, actually. So
it was convenient.
The otherwise very reliable internet connection here. Of course, everybody's been on lockdown in Leavenworth County, Kansas, for some time. It's not just very recent. So everybody's at home on their damn internet.
Netflix, Netflix is like 60% of their bandwidth right now.
I've lost connection more in the last 2 days than I have in the last 10 years.
I tried playing Tabletopia on Friday, and for the first time in 3 or 4 years, it took like 15 minutes to get into a game lobby. It was just so packed.
Yeah.
So Jen, I'm out in the game room part. I'm watching all you fine people paint. I'm really jealous. I should go switch to the laptop and be in the paint room. This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Paint things. Make them pretty.
Yes, paint all the Thrakenswords. Yes, absolutely.
I can't. My Thrakensword is already painted. I might as well get another one.
So,
yeah, but you have like an epic
I have
crap ton of
two.
stuff you need to do though, right?
This is the first one, but I have another one. This is going to be my husband's, and then I have to come up with my own paint scheme.
Because you need 2 dragons.
John, why does the Parakeet model have 8 million pieces?
Because we suck.
Because they don't like you very much.
It's not spider level sucky, so.
Hey, so let me tell you something about the spider.
Awesome,
You're right.
though.
Spider sucks. You won't get any argument from me. But
I even messaged John about the spider too when I was trying to put it together, I think.
Bad. And I've built a lot of them just so I could feel the pain. I built like 6, I think.
Every one that's sold, you have to build 2.
Right? Yeah.
I just got 6 of them in.
So it's interesting that we are working with a print-on-demand service, and that is the model we're going to prototype because it's one of the ones that the Knight of Vastilar, the Keshark, the Parakeet, because of the limitations of a silicon mold, the depth of a silicon mold, you can only have so much 3D space.
Mm-hmm.
The way people get around this is they go to China. It's just a thing, right? The way to make a steel, based plastic injection mold cost effective is to drive your costs down in other areas so low that you can afford that. And that's not done in America. This just isn't.
Yeah.
But the printing technology is advancing so fast and is resident in the States that we could take advantage of that. And the ability to make a print-on-demand resin spider is something that we will pursue. The whole range, not just the spider, but we're going to start with the more complicated models to get them in some other medium besides multi-piece metal. Because it's just not the way of the future. So.
I wasn't complaining about the mount. The mount's not fine. It's just the dude. He's like.
Yeah, no, the hand on those Parakeet drives me insane when he did it that way.
I thought I lost the hand for a second. It was so small. Like, where did the hand piece go? Because I dumped it out on my mat.
So I have a story about that. A buddy of mine lives near here, Free Blades fan. God knows why. I don't know. He just lives 2 streets down. We're talking one day, and he brought a model with him. And he says, look, I bought a Hinterguard for you guys, and I'm missing a piece. Hinterguard's got a little backpack, and I don't see the backpack. I said, do you have the package there? And he goes, yeah. And so I took it from him, and I flipped the base over, and the backpack was stuck in the space between the slot and the edge. I said, right here, dude. Not the first time it's happened, actually.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's some multi-piece models that are not competitively designed, not gamer friendly, and we got to get out of that business.
That's why we paid some poor soul to build and paint our 6 spiders.
Yeah, I pay Aaron for that, actually.
That's what I did.
I make everything. I build my own versions of everything we make. So I built the Knight of Vastilar and the spiders, many of them. I think it's 6 that I have here. A couple of Julies. So I know the challenges. It's just not when you can go buy an injection molded plastic pre-assembled model and be putting it on the table and/or painting it immediately without any assembly. We're not going to compete with that forever. We got to change to it. But we won't.
Well, I like the I like the resin parts for the wings and the dragon. That's like, I hope when you make that Mershal mount, that deep sea creature looking awesome thing, that the arms aren't metal. I don't know if they will be, but I suspect they'll be resin like your bigger creatures. No,
it's a metal model.
No. What have you done to me?
We're not going to be able to turn that process on a dime, but we are absolutely working on it.
What? So you got the Argus that's resin and the Daklos mounts that are resin. What makes a model resin or not resin?
We chose those because
the material.
Well, yeah. If I had been, let me just take a step back here. There was a day when the only people in this company were me and Julie, right? Mm-hmm. So we struggled with having to split all the duties between us, and we had whatever we inherited, you know, in terms of people we worked with and contractors and providers of materials and whatever. And so we kind of had to teach ourselves a lot of stuff early on. And now with the other members of the team, that's a lot better. But we inherited some things. I would not have done the Golat medal, you know, originally. But the very first one was cast in like 2009, 2010, something like that. So when the company was, you know, all metal, that's all they were ever going to be. And, you know, that's what the process was. That was the person who was in charge of casting wanted to do. And so we wouldn't want to make, I wasn't a big fan, I'm just kind of being straight up honest here. I wasn't a big fan of the wings of the Ventarks. So when it came time to make the Daclos Ravager's mount, I kind of required it was in resin because I didn't want to make those heavy wings with a narrow attachment point, you know, or sitting up there. If you want to put them up, it's easy if you put them down in the base. If you put them up in the air, you know, you have to do all this extra work to keep them upright.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the old school Games Workshop Bloodthirsters with the big heavy metal wings, or the Balrog models from Middle Earth.
Yep.
You put it on the table and the wings would fall off.
I have owned both those models. So.
I guess I'm just playing the wrong factions because, well, I guess now Falcor has, or we've got the Paracore.
Paracore, yeah. We did a poll not too long ago and asked everybody wanted. The big winner was everybody gets a mounted model.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so.
And you're pretty close. You're pretty close.
Getting there.
I'm still looking for that light cavalry.
Yeah, for
Falcar.
Oh, that's the thing. That'll be a thing. It's already in their background. That's gonna be easy. It wouldn't have to be a mercenary even. There's a whole barony of those guys. Clear. So
a Daclos is not enough cavalry for you. You don't need actual horses. You got a flying dinosaur.
Like.
Hey, the only reason John made it a flying dinosaur is to get Chris Reedy to buy in another faction, okay?
I'm Chris Reedy, and I approve.
Actually, no. But that's not a bad plan. I appreciate the plan part of that, you know. The story that we're going to tell about the Bright Sword War, the central character is from that place. That's from my original role-playing world from when I was like 16 or 17 years old. So the Parakeer has been a thing, you know, my whole adult life, which is rather long right now.
Yeah.
You know, rather long time. The fact that they were, you know, left over there by the Trazarites and the Falcarans captured them early and did all that sort of stuff is all.
I believe the word is stole.
What's that?
I believe the word is stole.
Hey,
no. The Empire feels that way, you know.
Liberated.
Propaganda.
Liberated.
When they come back on the continent, they can sort that out.
Let's just sit down over spaghetti dinner on a Sunday and discuss it.
That's right. We want those back. You know?
John, where does this bit go? Where does this bit go?
Looks a little
Isn't
small.
that a scabbard for the Parakeer?
Yeah. It goes on his skin.
Where do you wear yours, sir?
I don't know. Look how small this bit is. I love it.
Yeah, you're killing me.
Go get the tweezers.
Jennifer can address that bit.
So was it casting reasons why it's not attached?
I have no idea why that cut was made that way. I don't. You know.
Just put it together, Irvin. Jesus.
OJ, look at the size of my fingers and look at the size of that bit.
If you use hot glue, it goes a lot better.
Yeah, you're like Triple. He tells me to put his models together too sometimes. Just put it together.
It's called fat guy sausage fingers.
No, I don't. My
DJ, I'm absolutely on your side in this one, buddy. You are absolutely right. You hassle those guys all you want, but that hand is still too damn small. So
you haven't even taken the flash off the wing jet.
Absolutely shouldn't have done it to you. I don't know why that cut was made that way. Now, I would tell you that in a larger company, which all of them are, I think Nottingham's janitorial staff is bigger than our company, but although I will say this, their online store is closed and ours is not.
That's right.
Just saying.
Hard to close John's basement.
Yeah, open all the time. Shh, it's not a basement. It's a big map of Phalon. You can see it back here. Whoops.
Oh.
Somewhat.
So, what should happen and what we'd like to get to is you should be putting the art director and the sculptor in the same room during the discussion about cuts, right? And instead, sometimes these are being made at the foundry and we don't have as much control over them as we'd like, you know? But a model that's injection molded or it's a print will not have that problem in the first place. It's really the limitations of the depth of a silicon mold.
Yeah.
You know, if it's 2-3D, the piece is going to be at the limits of the edges of the mold, and you need to cut it and put it back in line with the rest of the mold in order to have the metal smooth evenly and all that sort of.
When you see a silicon mold, is it like uses centrifugal force and it spins it and fills it like that?
That's exactly right. It takes really super hot metal. It's one of the reasons why we outsource it, because if I had a spin caster in this room, I'd already be dead. You know, I would have come down here on a Saturday, pulled the wrong lever, pressed the wrong button, sprayed hot metal all over myself, and died like Viserys Targaryen. You know, so.
For me, it'd be things like, does a donut fit in here? And then push the button.
Can I cook breakfast here?
Push the button.
Yeah. So no, it's a disc. It comes in 2 halves made out of silicon, and then the mold is the indentations inside the disc, and it's put together. Hot metal is fed into it and spun until the metal is smoothly assigned to all the, you know, holes. I don't know what the sculptor would call it, or a caster would call
and
it.
Channels.
Yeah, I think channels might be the right word. I gotta tell you, I'm not the expert on that, because if I were, you wouldn't have that damn little hand in your barricade. So it's just a process we got to get better at.
Oh no, I wasn't complaining. I was just very much surprised at the small bit.
It sounded like you were complaining.
No, I'm paying somebody to do this. Don't worry. They can complain all they want.
BJ's right. Just put the damn thing together and shut up.
And just,
I like how BJ's talked about 10 seconds the whole time.
And every time he talks, it's like a slam on us. So.
I'm at work. I can't just be yelling on the internet.
The Canadians can give just as much as they take. Don't worry.
well, Irvin, you just need to give them an extra $15 to have them pin the hand.
Oh, actually, the current guy that's doing our stuff's the Catholic priest. He's an interesting dude, and he paid, and when he offered to do our spiders, he said, "How much do you want?" And he goes, "Well, it's $5 a model," and I said, "I'm paying you more than $5 to do that spider." So we basically paid him $10 a beast, and he was super happy with it because he does. Like, I guess it's just a side thing for him to do spare time, right? And he doesn't call it a commission service. It's like a donation. You donate to him.
Service to the hobby.
But we message him. We go, "So Justin, how's the spiders going?" "Oh, it's not that bad," because he's used to putting old school Lord of the Rings models together. So those aren't any better.
I was wondering where you're going with the Catholic priest. I was like, so your career or profession makes you a better modeler?
No, I just
it's just funny.
Unneeded information. Interesting tidbit.
Yeah, it was just funny.
But anyway, so we messaged like, it's not as bad as some Forge World models, because Forge World models are notoriously bad to put together. And then he goes, at the end, he's painting him, and he messages Kevin. He's like, "I'm gonna be honest, I really wish these were over by now." And I said, "Well, that's why we offered to pay you more than what you asked for originally to do these."
Yeah, and that's good, because you knew that there was going to be some issues, or maybe more difficult.
These horses' legs are like much longer than the Gruylar ones. Different breed of horse.
Yes, and an art director who really likes horses and has started getting on the concept artist and the sculptors about getting a little bit more realistic.
All right.
Half of my Grular forces are no longer rearing. The kind of just feet are kind of just on the bases by now. The front legs are on the bases because you play with the model and you touch it and it goes whoop, and it just sits there on the base now, no longer rearing.
Lazy
I'm
horses.
kind of leaning towards different types of horses for all of the different factions. I definitely have a plan for when the Erdogar get horses.
Are they gonna get a unicorn? Can we have a unicorn?
Besides wolves?
We have a
I
Pegasus,
don't have
John.
a unicorn right now, but I would be okay with one.
Yes.
I actually promised my daughter to convert the Talisar into a Pegasus unicorn.
Absolutely.
According to My Little Pony, yeah, it's an
And give it rainbow.
Oh.
Give it rainbow wings.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe
Let's not get too crazy.
my 13-year-old daughter would play then.
Rainbow wings.
So
Rainbow
whenever
wings is the theme of my Star Drake for Age of Sigmar here.
Rainbow wings. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Is that a non-DGS model?
Hell yeah.
there's Joshua Grist.
I'm also painting Obi-Wan Kenobi right now, so what are you gonna do?
But on the bright side, we just did see some Veras in, so we're fine.
Yeah, I got Bezzer in. I'm doing Harlequins and I'm doing Obi-Wan tonight. I got things going on.
Hey, and Josh just joined us, and so I apologize. I don't know how long he'd been waiting, but since I've got my face in my model, I didn't notice that he was trying to join us.
You're good.
I hope you weren't waiting long.
Nah, it's all right.
Okay, good.
John, when are we going to get a mounted Grular archer? Because, Grular has one thing to complain about. They don't have enough mounted models compared to the other factions yet.
The Marauder's not good enough for you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they have
Oh,
one.
I lied. Sorry. Mounted follower archer is what I meant to say.
So that's a good question. One thing we might do is just give you the stat line.
Like a life taker on a horse?
Well, like use the Marauder model and play as a follower until we can get a model made.
Yeah.
We're having a little challenge with the sculptor of the next Grular model, so I'm not sure how it's all going to play out.
Fight him.
Fight him.
Isn't that what you do in America? Settle everything with fists?
Trial by combat.
If he was in America, I'd pull that off. Can't quite get to him right now.
So how do you feel philosophically about doing that with other things? So like if you wanted to say, oh, I'd like to have a Gen car on my field because I love the model, but I don't really have room for a hero.
So Roger, it's a great question. Let me get to that. First, we can't, this is the business part. One of the challenges we've got is brought on by success. There's just more people all the time being interested in our game, which we want, right? Exactly what we want. So I'm concerned, we're all concerned about, we've been able to give some personal touches to some things we can't give personal touches to in the same way in the future and stay healthy as a company.
Sure.
We got to do it differently. This is an example, right? This is 9 separate personal conversations, basically, in a way. Or would be done that way. Now we can just do it one time and engage with a bunch of players of the game and help them, answer their questions and help them see the future of what's coming and all that sort of thing. So we're looking for more and more ways to do that. Now we've talked about, somebody will say, and I'll give you an example. Somebody said, well, the Daklos, the wyvern, the creature, is from the Empire. It's where it lives, the Trazrite Empire. And so does the Rakazar, the gecko, right? The gecko dinosaur. Which means that wouldn't the Trazrite military have access to the Rakazar and the Eclipse Sisterhood, wouldn't they be able to capture and ride a Daklos? And the answer is sure. Also, fantasy game, right? I mean, why not? So the next question became, well, do you have any opposition to us, taking a Eclipse, a Shaki Chaser rider and putting it on a Daklos and a Daklos Ravager and putting it on a Rakazar? Also, no. And one of the main reasons why is it's your game. I mean, once you buy these models from us and buy the rules, you can do whatever we want. We have a standard way tournaments and for combined campaigns where multiple places are playing in the campaign. But your game group, play the game the way you want to play it. Or if somebody says, hey, I'd like to have a rule for a Daedalus Chaser or a Rakazar Scout, that takes time. And when we could be a little bit freewheeling with that, we were. In the future, that sort of thing, we've got to find a way to not have it be completely free, or we're gonna run out of money and die.
That's what World Angle's for.
Yes,
partially,
that's exactly right. So there'll be a level of world building, and then somebody will make that suggestion. We bring it into the game early in World Builder, and then we'll move through the system until it ends up in the game proper. Now, of course, the more successful we get, somebody has that suggestion, we could just go and make the model, fairly quickly, much more quickly than we're doing now, when there's more of us and more capacity and whatever else. So the other part of that, and a really good, you've chosen a really good example, is that there will be places when we will do a stat line like that right away because of the game we want to take place in. So there is a Genkar follower line in Free Blades Encounters.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want to have people say, somebody says, I'm going to run a Free Blades Encounters game. Everybody bring 2 models, a hero and a follower, skill them up 3 times, and you're all going to be in the free band. One of you picks who's a leader. A couple of people could be casters, but not everybody can be a. Sometimes everybody can be a caster. It's kind of fun, kind of crazy, but kind of fun. Your coven of witches or whatever, Wizards Council. But bringing it into the game where it gets an official stat line, the living rule book, you got to be concerned about balance. You got to give some playtesting time to it.
Yeah.
And those things that take that time have got to be cycled in to be monetized somehow, or we're going to be doing all this work, no money gets generated, and we run out of money, we can't make anything anymore, And the way the future for us is the subscription levels of World Anvil,
That's for rules development, you're saying, or that's like you're expecting
everything.
that?
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be more profitable than model sales?
Potentially.
Interesting.
There's no significant expenses to it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
sure.
If I make a model, I gotta pay an artist. I gotta pay a sculptor. I've got to ship it. I've got to package it. I've got to do all these things. If Gooch and I write a campaign and provide it to the platinum grade subscriber, it's our labor cost. That's it. Right. So, and we're not the only company thinking about that or already doing it. It's not like we invented that idea either.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to find the right balance. Enough, it's going to be a pyramid. Enough of it's got to be free that a player can play and have a completely enjoyable experience and doesn't want to spend any more money on it. That's got to be okay. And then, ratchet it up to the level where somebody's like completely involved in world building, and paying their X dollars a month, whatever it is. I can't be quoted on X. I don't know what it is, or what it's going to be, to be able to participate in. All right, well, we're gonna this next year. The Grular are gonna start a war and whatever, and you need to be part of that. So, do you want to pick a tribe to design, or tell the story of this legion's march across this part of the world, or you get this castle in this country to kind of write the characters for and develop the history of. All those things are on the table. But it's got to be something that generates some revenue somewhere. We'll run out of steam.
So with that kind of idea in mind, do you think the model sponsorship is going to change in the future?
No, I got to tell you, I'm shocked every day at how successful that program's been. Right? When we talk about how many models in the line have been sponsored, it's just crazy. And now we have bake sales. I think that's amazing, right? But
hey, how many other game companies can say they have bake sales?
To generate money that creates models,
right?
Right? And that's not even us. We're not. Those guys are doing painting commissions and
They're getting their faction built. I like it.
Well, and here's the interesting thing about that. They chose Corona because the art and the story interested them, right? But Corona's story is a big part of this thing that's coming called the Jaguar Crusade. When we start rolling history forward, the Trazerites are going to invade the continent, right? There's going to be all these things that happen in Free Captains, in Free Blades, in whatever, Bright Sword, that are because of this big event. And we started teasing the first chapters of that story, you know, last year. We're going to keep at that, right? So Corona's part of that story. So some parts of Corona are pretty solid, you know, and there's not a lot of, like Joshua mentioned, there's not a lot of wiggle room for the player being a world builder to change certain things. It's got a Caliph and a Khalifa. It's got two moons in its heraldry. It's got, you know, its armies laid out a certain way. So that's kind of set, right? So what we did was they told us which models attracted them the most into the starter box, and then made one slot completely open. And we are on a separate Facebook group where they are designing the 6th model right from scratch, you know.
That's cool.
So we didn't violate any of the things about Corona with the fact that they're going to be a faction that allows 2 casters, right? If you've seen the playtest pack, I don't know if you know that. After 200 free band value, they can have a 2nd caster. But it's always a man-woman pair. It's always Moon's Magic. It's, you know, got a lot of fluff-based stuff to it. And they're very, their fluff is very strong on man-woman team pairs. You know, the Red Spear, the Red Archer, the Moon's Priest, the Moon's Priestess. So that's all kind of wrapped up in their story and in the starter box, but we made sure there was one item completely open for them to, okay, we're going to, you know, and I think they're kind of shocked by how free that is. They kept, you know, saying, hey, can we choose this? Sure. Well, can we make it do this? Sure. You know, I mean, when we said, you know, you're going to be giving us some money here. Let's have some fun with it. You guys decide. Now, like Kevin, like you and Irvin got into, right? I had to tell him, hey, go away for a while and decide how you want this, and then come back and involve me, because there was like 50
we were basically arguing the chat that John's in. What we want for each model.
Like, oh no, I want this way. I want this way. And I'm like, I'll be back. You know. You know.
So just so everybody knows, I put 10:30 as the end time, so I don't know if we'll get a warning or what. Usually, when I had classes with Zoom, they would give a warning at 5 minutes, but I'm sure I can cancel that, and I have nothing going on, so I could stay till 4 in the morning. But just so in case, you know, at 10:30, if this thing shuts off, that's why.
I'm an essential worker, so I have to go to work every day.
Yeah, yippee!
Yay!
I'm already at work, Irvin.
BJ, shut up.
I'm an employee, so I don't work.
I am at work.
Yeah,
that's right.
But not doing any. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm a teleworker for the first time in my life. It's really weird.
Wow.
I'm a night owl, and I laugh when I see John doing something at 3:30 or 4 in the morning.
So at 3:30 or 4 this morning, we'll be working on your, among other things, the solo scenario, the Pendant of Sialdar, something like that. I have to look at this title again. Matt's in charge of the kind of fluff part of it. I'm writing the way the NPC rules for a treasure hunt and you know what goes on there. But want to get, you know, different ways to play the game where people are isolated from each other. You know, so a solo scenario that you could play, and then we get to where you know, you could play that 2-player, you know, later on once things get back to normal or somewhat normal. Mm-hmm. Then yeah, and Bob, I'm going to cut off at 10:30 because there's several things that are going to keep me till 3:30 doing, you know. The other one is we got to announce the scenario design contest tomorrow.
Cool.
That'll be fun.
So yeah, I've seen some of the stuff the guys have already kind of bandied around. Colin Scott and Andrew Weber, some other folks. There's some really cool ideas out there. Some of the favorites from the rule book now were fan suggestions that we knocked out at a con or did something else with. We had a poll on what the prize would be. poster map or some kind of special marker, and it's like tied or was close to tied.
Close, yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to tell the winner. You tell us. Do you want a special token or do you want a poster map? You know, we'll make whichever one it is.
They want a coin.
What's that?
They want a coin.
There's other ways to get coins. That's not going to be one of them. So, yeah. So, because we've also got to keep a balance of standard scenarios. You know, one player versus one player that makes sense for competition, and then what we call club scenarios where you need extra creatures or a certain setting or the terrain has to be a certain way. And so we have a bunch of ideas sitting in the vault, but you know, people have been making suggestions. Let's get them some recognition and get them a prize for it and get it out there and, you know, do whatever, get some credit. Because there's some really cool ones sitting out there right now.
Yeah, I saw Weber's he's working on. They're pretty good. Speaking of the map of Phalion, are you guys going to go into more merch anytime soon, like specific Free Blades, T-shirts,
we will do that. There's a laundry list of about 80 things, right? That's on it, probably in the 70s. But, you know, it's, you know, poster maps, cloth maps, T-shirts, mugs, all that sort of thing. What we did do is make a bunch of graphics available for free on the website so somebody could go to, I always think of Cafe Press. I don't even know if they're still around now, but, you know, places that do that. If you take the imagery and go, you know, get your own faction shirt made or something, you know. All we care about is that people don't make money off of it. If somebody wants to make a T-shirt and they grab the Phalon map or they grab the image of a model or they grab, you know, Harridellan heraldry or whatever, that's totally okay. Somebody starts selling those T-shirts, it's not us. You get 3 lawyers all lined up, chomping at the bit to go make us some money off of that. So please don't, you know.
Did you see our Canadian shirts done yet?
No. You guys got cool Free Blades Canadian shirts? You gonna wear them to Adepticon? You couldn't?
We were. Here, let me go downstairs and grab one.
You don't want to shock us with it later? You want to do it now?
That's fine.
We got BJ hasn't seen him. He paid for one.
Yeah, BJ hasn't seen it. His is sitting in their house.
Oh,
yeah, man.
Wow. Yeah.
Downstairs.
Yeah, I was thinking like I have 0 DGS Free Blades T-shirts or anything to wear.
Swag.
I can fix that.
Yeah, you just have to become a quester, then you get
one. I was going to say, I had to give Jennifer a shout out. I appreciate her representing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And here I am in some kind of army shit. You know,
I'd asked Matt Gooch about being a quester and stuff. I ran that one event at Recruits, but I feel I'm too local and I don't live anywhere near any game stores. You know, it's an hour and a half north or south and 2.5 hours east and west.
Oh, do you want me to show you off?
Bob, I can get you a T-shirt. They're not exclusive to the Questers.
Yeah.
I think what we might do in the future. Oh, that's nice, right? That is pretty cool.
You got to turn around, Herman.
I like the collar, and the 3-button shirts.
Yeah, hold up. Where?
Don't hurt yourself.
He's our model, our beautiful model. All right. So now the printing didn't work out because I hired a buddy of mine to break down the Free Blades logo, and it says TBMC Irvin on the back. So all the Canadian guys have their names. So yeah, I wish it wasn't outlined in white, but the way the guy we got to print, and to keep the cost, you know, not like $80 a shirt, we had to get it. But I can't wait.
You know, aside from that maple leaf, it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was rough.
I think
got deep tonight, huh?
People can drink out of it as soon as we figure out which nation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the worst thing about Adepticon is Canadians can't prove that we're both better at hobby and the game.
Well, then you're gonna have somebody from Mexico come up, and then you're gonna have to have.
Yeah.
I really got to talk to my. You can't say countrymen, right? It's country persons. Well, I don't know. What the I know. I want to be
country people kind.
You know, my country siblings.
Country mates. Country mates.
Like that one. That's a good one. Country mates.
I would still say countrymen, but
you need to step up your game a little bit. Uncle John's here to tell you. You know, right? These guys, certainly the quality of the hobby is amazing, right? You guys put on a show, you know, no question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be like, you know, hey, as an American, I would really appreciate you guys getting your crap together. That'd be awesome. God forbid one of those Canadians wins the damn thing. And it'll be, oh my God, we'll never get into that.
I don't know. I think we have. Do we have more tournaments than you guys, or we got to have at least close to the same amount
per year?
I don't know.
No, you're not talking overall history.
No, per year recently.
I don't know. I can find out.
We weren't counting.
It doesn't need to be a contest, Kevin.
It does.
Everything's a contest with you dudes. We know this.
Size doesn't matter, Canada.
I'm not offended by that. All right, hang on. Let me see what I can find here.
What do we have, BJ? One every 2 months at least. Recently, it's been more than that.
We were going to have 3 months in a row, but...
Yeah, we did get kind of cut short there on all sides.
Old Corona got in there.
Yeah.
Rona.
Well, gentlemen and lady, I have to go. So it's been nice chatting with everybody. I got a conference call. Yay.
I'm glad I got to at least, you know, see people I've not seen locally.
Yeah, this is a really cool idea, bro.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, and we'll have to try some other besides Zoom and see if I can get recorded and everything else with some of the other things, Google Hangouts or whatever it is.
I think Zoom is the best option.
Yeah, it seems to be working well, and besides me admitting people.
Another option is Whereby.
That would be kind of annoying.
We use Whereby, which is just a link that anybody could join if you have it unlocked. But you can only have up to 12 people.
Oh, yeah, this will go up to, I think 100 is the limit on the free account.
Well, I know we, last Sunday, our church met on Zoom, and we had 50-some people on here. 50-some, like, people on there, a lot more.
The last 10 Free Blades tournaments, 6 in America or in Canada.
Ooh.
That's overrepresenting, right, from a population standpoint.
He said 6 in America, 4 in Canada. And you just went, yes.
But no, I wasn't talking about country versus country. I was talking about city versus city.
Oh, well, hey, you know.
Ours is split amongst 3 cities.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you're not even in Ottawa. What are you talking
Yeah,
hey, Andrew's there.
Andrew, you're alive?
Yeah, he came in later.
He was here before you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
I was playing Magic, sorry.
By yourself?
No, that's what I got my playmat here for. You're so damn rude, BJ.
Yeah, I know.
Not as rude as Atkins though. That guy's a dink.
Those 6 in the States were in 4 different cities. 2 in KC and 2 in Michigan.
Not a contest, Kevin.
It's not, but that's interesting data, though.
Mm-hmm.
Sure feels like a contest.
How many? It'd be interesting to, since you're still somewhat small, how many questers in different states and that sort of thing.
That is growing. It's a really, really important program, and the people that are in it are really super, super helpful.
We have 4 questers here. Me and my brother where we live, and then 2 in Ottawa.
Well, it's been awesome. Julie and Matt Gooch went to Coastal Con in South Carolina, sold every model they brought with them, kicked off questers in 3 stores, and they're killing it. The last set of orders just raided the warehouse pretty seriously. So every time we turn around, we're opening a new market that way, which is really a big deal.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Did you get any Europeans yet?
What's that?
Did you get any questers or groups starting up in Europe yet?
No, we have a distributor in the UK, and some players play out of the store distributors based in, but not anything substantial. No. I'd really like to fix that. That'd be good.
And we got to have an international cup, not just a North American
Right.
cup.
That is right. I want to see one side or the other drinking out of that thing at wherever place we go to after the tournament.
I'm not drinking after Atkins, by the way. I'm drinking before Atkins.
You need a bunch of shooters instead of one big cup.
In this environment, that'd probably be smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting at home last weekend. I was like, I'd be having like probably an infinite amount more fun right now if it wasn't for this virus.
Andrew and I played Free Blades anyways.
Social distancing, not following it. It's people like you why our world's going to crap, BJ.
So the rule on social distancing
Triple
is
and I are
more
both
than
essential,
10
buddy.
people in a space.
And yeah.
You can still play your games at a 2v2 as long as you don't touch each other.
That's why I started the game with my wife. I just got to talk her into actually finding time to play a game with me.
I got nobody else to play with now. You have to.
What are those sticks that they use in war games? They push around, or in on the poker tables, or not?
Are you talking like when you see a strategist at a table?
Yeah.
He has that big long hook.
Mm-hmm.
Is it croupier or something like that?
Yeah, I have not a clue.
Yeah, it's got a name. It has a name actually. Yeah, so we did. I had the virtual background going, but behind me is the game table, and the camera is clipped onto the top of this giant ass monitor that we used to do design work. But Chris and I did our last playtest game. The camera was pointed at the table and zoomed in on the table, and he had his dice and his army list and his stuff where he was, and he just told me what to do, moving his pieces. You know, we rolled for initiative. It was his turn. He said, "Hey, how far apart are the knights from the boar warriors?" I told him. He said, "Okay, move me here," and I moved his stuff there. It went, I mean, crazy. I'm a social person. I'd rather play in person, but you know, it was pretty easy to do. And if BJ and those guys make Tabletop Simulator happen, you know, there's another whole option.
Online tournament.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How you good? Can you make a D11 on Tabletop Simulator?
Yeah, you can roll anything.
Yeah, you can. And if you can't, you can just Google.
And if you lose, you can flip the table.
Yeah, that too. Well, you can do that on accident without even.
I know. Yeah, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
You're playing a game and then the table just goes flying. Oops,
Yeah, it could actually get really bad.
Forgot to turn that off.
I've never used Tabletop Simulator before.
Yeah, it's got this realistic gravity to it, so you can like flick things at other players. You can drop things and it'll actually bounce. And
you can write messages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the publishers prefer Tabletopia since a lot of the assets you can't steal them as easily as on Tabletop Simulator, by the way.
I stole all kinds of stuff for this. I don't care.
Yeah, well, you probably had permission, so.
Absolutely, you can whatever he needs, you can get from us.
But yeah, I mean, there's tons of Star Wars things and all sorts of IP type, stolen stuff that's in mods out there.
It's not like there's an IP on the Freeblade stuff, is there?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there is. When it comes to it being used to make other people money, we are super aggressive about that. You know, I am a former war criminal hunter. I'm just saying. It's better if the lawyer shows up than if I show up.
Insert Liam Neeson.
That's such an American
my
quote.
daughter's involved.
That's like the most American quote I've heard.
What's that?
I'm a former war criminal hunter.
It's the most American thing you've heard?
Yeah.
See, in Canada, we don't hunt war criminals. We give them $2 million.
Exactly.
That way they can hide better.
It was like 12.5, wasn't it?
10.5. Don't get me started.
10.5.
What war criminal is this?
There was a guy who.
Omar Kadar.
Yeah, he threw a grenade and killed a medic. But he was a
American
kid,
medic.
and then he was put in American.
Okay, yeah.
He's put in Guantanamo, and then
all my war criminals were Bosnian.
But yeah, our prime minister apologized to him and tried to on the down low give him $10.5 million.
Wait, Prime Minister Trudeau?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
It's because his rights were infringed upon after he killed the medic. He was young, so he shouldn't have went to prison where he went to, and he sued the government. And
if we're having a competition here, I think we got somebody here that could top that, but that's okay. And I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about somebody else running for president.
I think we ought to go back to Freeblade.
Politics.
Just saying. You know,
I could talk it all day.
not my thing.
Well, I am trying to look for any type of options in case this thing closes.
I'm not much of a politic talker. I love watching other people and like argue like the whole heart out of it, because some people get like super insane about it.
Oh, I don't argue. I'm just a troll when it comes to politics.
If you want to have some
that's the
political
key.
argument, watch it fun. Watch the British Parliament. They are hysterical to watch.
Oh, I do.
We watched it was like a 15-minute video of the whole Parliament exploding because some guy called somebody else dodgy. He spent about four minutes insulting the guy, and it was profanity laced. But the whole Parliament was up in arms over the word dodgy specifically. They wanted him to retract it. It was great.
It's funny because of the fact that they have to refer to each other as right honorable friend or something of that nature.
I don't have any of those.
They have to be like super nice to each other in the way that they talk. Otherwise, they get in trouble.
John, was that
here,
you don't have
just
any
like,
friends or any honorable friends?
Oh, right honorable ones. My dad became a judge. The first time I was in his courtroom, the bailiff says, "All rise." You know, I had to stand up for my dad. I was like, this is bullshit. You know? So I had to give him some grief about that. You just had me in the courtroom just so you have some guy make me stand up when you came in, right? I mean, that's why I'm here. But, no, I don't have any right honorable friends. Just friends.
I'd have just sat right back down.
Oh shit, right? So.
What are you gonna do? Throw me in jail? Oh wait, you can.
Yeah, and I'll hold my son in contempt of court.
Did more than once. So even before he was a judge. Yeah. All right, I am going to, but I'm going to cut out. I got to go write the scenario and get that scenario design contest all ready to go.
Okay, cool.
But this was awesome. This is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I'm just wishing that I based this model in green, and then I wouldn't have to worry about the edges.
All right, well, have a good night, John.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Josh,
See you,
you're
John.
painting it, and if you're painting, it's awesome. So it's all good. All right, guys. I will catch you later.
All right. Bye,
See you
John.
later.
Good night. I'm going to go ahead and bow out too because I'm going to be up kind of early because that's just life.
Yeah, you're an adult.
And my dog doesn't sleep in. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Well, I'm going to anticipate maybe doing this every couple weeks. My schedule's pretty open right now, but I think every 2 weeks.
Been playing Magic and watching TV. That's what I've done the last 3 weeks.
He should be painting.
Yeah, I need motivation to paint. Tournaments are what usually motivate me to paint.
Yeah, it feels so weird to be painting. Like I said, it's been late February since I've had a paintbrush in my hand.
What faction are you doing now, Irvin?
Irvin or Kevin?
Irvin.
Well, have a good night, Jen.
You guys are the same person anyway.
Bye,
Ken,
Jen.
shut up. Sorry, BJ.
I'm done with that for now because I'm gonna get frustrated because of the fact that.
What faction am I going to put together and paint?
Yeah.
Probably none. I'm going to probably paint the extra dudes I have for my chakram to bring it up to 2 of each hero and 4 of each follower, which is just like 4 Gora, 1 Titlic, 1 Spitter, 1 Shellback, 1 Headhunter. I hate that model.
That's such an ugly model.
Which one?
I'm going to do a second Steel Fang just because why not?
Well,
The Headhunter.
That's like my favorite. I love that model.
If you notice though, their early models are very two-dimensional and flat.
It's what casting had to be. Casting back in the day, that's why a lot of Games Workshop models, the old ones, are like posed like this with one arm up in the air, one arm, so it could be more flat.
Yeah, but as you're talking about, is the casting and stuff is obviously it's not as complex to do the mold and everything else, and it's the way the spin casting works.
I think this one that I'm painting is. I think this one is the Trillion Searcher. She's got her arm down holding the bow, and that arm blocks like half the model as far as trying to paint anything. So there's a bunch of spots on it that I can't get to, and they're all white because I base coated it or basically painted it, primed it white. So
Did Matt Budney? When did Matt Budney disappear on us?
a while ago.
No, I didn't.
How about you, BJ? What are you painting next?
I'm gonna run, but
Whole army together.
Said Josh said you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably So I'm gonna
Have a good night.
Have a good night, Josh.
Nice to see you.
I'm gonna probably finish my chakram. I have to order more bases from Dragon Forge. It's gonna be expensive. And then I'm going to the demon. I have a bunch of demon models I'm going to finish painting up, and then all the Falcaran I bought and all the Grula I bought are gonna go to commission painter because the skin tones on those.
Well, I love putting models together, but
I hate putting models together, and I dislike painting. So
I'm in such a rural area.
Atkins, now that you're on the chat here, Irvin, mute your mic. Why didn't you enter any of the free blade painting competitions, dude? Your painting is sick.
I don't know. Didn't feel like it.
What did Chris? What did Jason? Jason's like, Andrew doesn't paint to win competitions.
Neither does Jason.
Oh, he does paint to win competitions. He just doesn't win.
Well, if he finished the model, it would help.
Robert's gonna post this, and Jason's gonna listen to it later.
Yeah.
You already heard it in the chat. You already heard it in like the freeway chat.
Yeah.
Atkins, are you still getting your restaurant?
We're gonna hold off on the sale right now because of all this. Like, I can't even open it even if I get it. So
nice.
Maybe not.
Yeah, this whole situation is weird.
Somebody explained it to me. I saw a post online. Somebody explained it appropriately. No, it wasn't like a fear-mongering post or anything like that. It was just like, this is one of those like world events where you refer to what like before 9/11 and after 9/11. This is going to be like before this whole situation. This is just going to change so much.
Well, the situation itself is weird, but what I don't understand is world leaders, huge business owners, like worldwide and the World Health Organization. Was this not ever a scenario that crossed their mind, and did they not have any plans in place?
They will now.
But I mean, for the last 50 years, there's been movies and books and comics written about stuff like this. But none of us.
The numbers aren't like that excessive. It's crazy. If you actually compare it to other like diseases, it's not going like out of wildfire. Like influenza is very similar, and it's just something that's new, and the media has basically destroyed it. Like they drive me nuts. Like the things that they report, our health unit here reported 5 new cases of coronavirus. It's like, okay, fair enough. 5 new. I went and checked out their bulletin. That was their headline, not a news headline. That was from the health unit. And I looked, and it wasn't 5 new cases. It was 5 cases total.
Huh.
They reported 2 like 2 days before, and then they reported another 3, but they called it 5 new.
Oh yeah, just
so it's information. They just keep telling people, oh, more. It's like, well, that's not what's actually happening.
Yeah, it's just manipulating the statistics.
Yeah, they're sensationalizing, trying to get people to click on their sites. I don't know, it's crazy. I'm not saying it's not a thing. I'm saying like, they can do a lot better helping people out, getting real information from them, whatever they want to put on.
All I know is I'm not prepared. If BJ is like a hunter guy and he can live on his own, if like all of a sudden society collapsed, I'd be the first one to go, boys.
Yeah, I have no hunting skills, or I could fish maybe.
I don't even like touching the fish on the hook, so.
Yeah, I would know what to do with the fish once I had it out of the water. And
crazy times. Yeah, but hey, man, I get a month off or a month and a half off with pay, so whatever.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
I mean, BJ, you've had like what, your whole career off?
So, I worked hard to get this job.
Yeah, you did. I know.
And that's it.
Once I got the job, I stopped working hard.
The last time I worked was when I had my interview.
Oh. Is it just you there, BJ, or are there other guys?
I got teams out in other places.
I'm still.
My control room guy here is working, like watching all the cameras, making sure nobody comes over the fence, and I'm just sitting here waiting for them to kick off.
Oh yeah, you're the boss. You get to hand out the duties.
He's in charge of the
Yeah.
SWAT team, but he didn't say he's the only one on the SWAT team.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's still in charge.
I'm like Paul Blart.
You're the mall cop. So Andrew, are you still working at the hotel then? Well,
No, the hotel shut down like 2 weeks ago.
oh dang. Well, you're gonna get $2,000 a month soon.
A month?
Whenever that comes in. Yeah, if you don't, like Canada's giving at least $2,000 a month or something for people who lose their jobs.
It must be nice. They're giving us a one-time thing and saying, "Well, hope you don't die after that."
Yeah.
I don't think I'm getting the 2,000.
Oh, did you apply for EI?
Yeah, but my EI is worth more than that. So.
Okay, well then that's good.
Yeah, I've got
All I
it.
know is I'm glad I'm still working through all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do if I was like without pay.
My 19-year-old daughter, she's pissed because of, for whatever reason, that 17 to 19 or 17 to 20 age group isn't getting.
It's only 17 is not getting it, but if you're under 24 and still claimed as a dependent, you're not eligible.
Yeah. And she's not happy.
So is it like $1,000 one-time thing?
They're just giving everybody $1,200.
Yeah.
So every taxpayer or whoever filed the income tax is getting $1,200.
Yeah, and then every married couple, it's up to $75,000, and then $150 for married couples.
Yeah, it's and then there's an additional $500 per child as well.
Yeah.
What do you mean, 150,000?
No, if they earn more than 150,000, they're not getting the money.
Oh.
Correct. Well, there's actually a taper off. It's 199,000. You don't get the money.
Oh, so it's depending on income. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you're single, it's up to 75, and then it has a taper off of like $100 less for every $1,000 above that you earn, and you'll be at zero by the time you hit 99,000.
So many businesses.
150 to 200.
Like, just imagine the liquor stores that day that everybody gets a $1,200 check. It'll be bare shelves.
Yeah.
It may be. It also may be people trying to make sure they don't get evicted as soon as this is over.
Hopefully that's what it is.
See, I actually snuck in lucky because if it was just me, I wouldn't be getting basically anything. But since my wife quit her job and is going back to school, that puts our household income low enough that we'll both get the full amount.
Nice.
Because our housing and like rent like that is all done by our provinces, or in your case, like the states. And our premier said basically you can't get evicted if you don't pay rent.
Right.
Right now, it's not saying you can't get evicted in 4 months when this is over and you didn't pay for rent for 4 months.
Right. And the problem, though, is a lot of people are concerned, like, well, in this 3 months, do I then have to pay 3 months of back rent all at once?
I was tempted to not pay rent, but I figure one of the lucky ones that still has everything as normal, so I should probably be a respectable human being.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, it's getting weird out on the roads. A good chunk of my job is moving from community to community because where I'm spread throughout the whole Tampa Bay area, and just seeing the traffic reduction has been absurd.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to be able to actually, get into the Tampa area without being gridlocked for a while.
I might be okay with driving in big cities at that point.
I live in northern Ontario. There's normally not traffic.
The traffic around here is all associated with the fact that we can't keep up with our growth. We're getting a huge number of people moving to Florida, and it's like, okay, this area was fantastic to drive in 5 years ago, but now it's a freaking nightmare, and they have to expand the lanes during rush hour because they hate us.
The few research things I've seen on freeways and traffic, even though they build extra lanes, that just means more people get on the lanes and it still causes problems.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So it'll be fine for a year and a half, and then traffic will just build again.
Where we live, we live in Northern Ontario, so we're about 3.5 to 4 hours north of Toronto. And from our city to Toronto, they've been 4-laning the highway because we have a 2-lane highway for about, well, right now it's about 20 to 25% of it. But the 4-lane project was supposed to be done a decade ago, and they're still not done.
Give you a sense of traffic. The county that I work in, there are 0 stoplights and 0 fast food.
Okay.
But the town I live in, the county, there's several fast foods. And
the town I live in has a Tim Hortons on every single corner.
And what is that?
Oh boy.
It's like the Canadian version of
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, okay.
Except way more popular by my understanding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, things are so weird with the way construction's going in Florida is I don't actually know where I live.
Right.
If you had asked me, now I moved into this area after all these changes had already been done, but had I moved here 10 years ago, I'd have very firmly told you I lived in a township called Palmetto. But some builders came in and decided to build some very high-end luxury homes, and Palmetto has a certain stigma about it because downtown Palmetto is not so great. And downtown Palmetto is a good 8 miles away from here. So these big builders who came in gave a lot of money to the county rezoning board to say, well, wait a minute, this particular chunk of Palmetto is now going to be the township of Parrish, even though Parrish proper is really far away. And my development just happens to basically be right on the line where I have a Palmetto zip code, but if you look at me on a map, I'm actually in Parrish.
Yeah, that's interesting how people change things. And
well, what's even crazier is this is the second time I've lived in a situation like this. The first time was in a town called Sarasota, and the dividing line between Sarasota County and Manatee County used to be a street called University Parkway. Well, somehow a chunk just north of University in one area got absorbed by Sarasota. So technically you've crossed the line and Manatee County rules now applied, which meant you could get a mimosa on a Sunday morning for breakfast. But you had a Sarasota zip code and paid Sarasota taxes. It was very bizarre. They called that area Manasota because it was part Manatee, part Sarasota.
maybe it's you. It's not the
It
places.
might be. It might be specifically me.
Oh man!
So BJ, how are you getting 3D models of the Freeblade stuff?
I'm not. I showed you a picture of it. Did I not?
I mean,
it's hold on. Let me see if I can.
Did you grab or is it the model that John showed?
No, he's for Tabletop Simulator.
I'm also upset I missed that model that John showed because it's
Ask
literally
him for
my
a photo.
model.
He'll send you a photo. He said.
Oh yeah, BJ's just doing a token, a flat.
Yeah.
It's not a 3D.
Okay. I screenshotted them all. Send me a message. I'll send you the photos.
Well, I don't know how much progress I made on anything tonight.
I got some base coats down on all 4 Vezerin. I got a color down on these Harlequins. I finished Obi-Wan, and I'm working on a speeder right now, so I did pretty good.
I got 8 Veres and I have to paint up to have a 12 of them total.
That's it.
That's it.
I have 4 other factions though. 5 other factions.
Oh, how many factions do I have? Well, I don't know. Let me count. Wow, what am I at?
I appreciate
I think I'm
that
at 5
model.
total. I think I'm at 5 total.
Yeah, I've got several factions, but Haredellin is my true love, but I play Falcor. Or Falcor.
Yeah, I've got several, but Trouserites are my true one. That's why I have 26 Vezerin.
26?
Every time I make an order, I order 2 more.
I like it.
And Chris, is that you with your unproven?
Damn right it is.
I think they need to make an alternative or a different alternate pose model.
You look old in that, Irvin.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be my actual age.
I'm tempted to make a T-shirt because I have pictures of every time the unproven has died in this area, and it's not always mine. It's often in demos too. I'm very tempted to make a a T-shirt for the next time I make it out to Adepticon that's just a picture of the Unproven on front and the date of every time he died on the back.
It's the Unproven World Tour.
That's on my list of possible wacky T-shirts.
All right, Irvin.
Yes.
Here, I'll show you them now.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Yes,
the nice thing about this is that we can see the front and back arcs.
Yeah.
Ooh. And does it measure in inches?
Yeah, I can be like. Oh, I'm sorry, I'd have to hit a couple buttons here. Hold on, I can fix it.
What's the learning curve like?
Pretty minimal.
If you can play a MMO
It's like that.
RPG, then you can do it.
Oh, can you see that one?
Yeah.
And then I can just mark it if I had to move the model.
That's cool. I wouldn't be able to do 40K with TTS because it's just way too much stuff. But this would be a lot easier.
And there are tons and tons of terrain mods that you can import and everything else. You can make the coolest looking board.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is keep it super simple. So you'd still play with cards. The dice are on here so you can roll them on there so your opponent could see.
Yeah.
But you can keep your cards for all the real things. But if you like glance over, if you like hold your pointer over remodel, you can see its speed, defense, and armor value, and how much it costs.
That's
because
cool.
we don't trust Kevin.
Hold up.
I played War Machine with a guy, and are you guys familiar with War Machine?
Yes.
Anyway, he uses D6s, and he would roll, and as soon as he rolled, he would reach down and grab the model or the dice, and if it was a 1, 2, or 3, he'd be so adept he would grab it, pick the dice up, and then move them to a different location and lay them down, and that 1, 2, or 3 would then be a 5 or a 6.
It sounds like that definitely sounds like a War Machine player, but
gotta love it.
And we were finally like, that's enough. You're rolling in this spot and you're not touching them so we can see them.
I never know why anybody would cheat in a game.
Yeah.
Especially like one that's like not a winning or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you're just like, we're not going to play with you anymore unless you do this.
Some of my most ridiculous gaming stories ever come from War Machine.
I was a huge fan for the longest time, and I was a press ganger from 2003. I think I was number 40 or something on their forums, and I don't know. They did some things and pissed me off and ran me out.
Oh, see, when I say the best, mine were just ridiculous. I would just do ridiculous shit in that game. I think in the entire time I played, now I wasn't super huge into it, but I want to say one year I made it to every single monthly tournament and event, and every one of them was 4 games. So it was at least 48 games that year at tournaments. And I went 3-1 pretty consistently. A couple times I went 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't terrible at the game. Wasn't great by any stretch, but out of those 48 tournament games, I think I won on scenario once.
Yeah.
And every other time is won on assassination because I just played for assassination because I just didn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I didn't like about the game is just like, oh, I killed the one model, I win.
I loved that. I had such wacky assassinations I used to do. I blew up my own caster one time to kill the other guy's caster. He had a model too close, so I took a 4-inch AoE to the face to open up a path to, fire my shot. I was using Veil too. So I dropped an obliterate in my own face just to clear a model so I could shoot my own war beast and shoot another obliterate at the caster and win the game.
Yeah.
I threw one of my opponent's robots at a caster one time and only managed to kill it because I was out of throw range and the scatter was perfect. It was fantastic. It was just the goofy shit that I tried to do, killing the other people's casters was hysterical. I played with my wife one time and she was rolling like a Muppet. It was ridiculous. And so I just kept letting her reroll. I'm like, no, reroll this. And she had her caster's trying to kill my caster. Nope, reroll that again. Reroll it again. Okay, you finally did enough damage to kill me. Okay, my guys got tough. Okay, I lived. Well, you die now.
Yeah.
A lot of fun in that game, but a lot of people took it way too damn seriously.
I laughed so hard. My buddy played Kador, and I can't remember who his caster was, but his winter guard just turned and ran, and he was like, "Yeah, screw you guys." He turned around and did some frozen spray on him just to.
That'll teach you to run, you jerks.
Yeah.
I love it.
I used to buy and sell miniatures for Irvin. Mute your mic. I used to buy and sell miniatures for a living about 4 or 5 years ago, when I was in between, like just finishing school and whatnot. And War Machine, it still has the worst resale value ever. I could even sell War Machines for like 20% of the retail.
Yeah.
I don't sell minis once I have them, so that's why I have too much.
I had a fire in 2016, and my garage is my hobby area, and I lost a lot of things, but it was kind of a nice restart.
A cleansing fire.
Yeah.
If I kept every miniature I've ever had, I honestly would not have the space in my house.
But we didn't. That's why when we bought a house, we made sure there was specifically a room just for miniatures.
My whole basement is my miniature room.
What's the saying? My wife lets me have all the miniatures she doesn't know about.
Oh no, she knows. She's a gamer too.
Yeah, I don't want to sell my wife. I'd hate for my wife to sell my miniatures for what I told her I paid for them.
Yes, I have seen that one.
For an additional $5, we'll give you a receipt to save the amount you told your wife you paid for it.
Yep, seen that one too. I like that one.
Oh, I hope Capital City Bloodbath happens.
They postponed the sign up, so I hope so.
Yeah,
Jared's
boys, you
worried,
gotta
though.
come to. If you want to come to Canada for a tournament, Capital City Bloodbath's going to be our biggest one, and there's a good
Swanky
chance that
event.
it's going to be the North American Championships. Now that's coming from John. That's not coming from John, but I suspect that John had said that's high in the running. So,
Well, I can't think of literally any other reason to come to Canada, so there you go.
you don't want to see Ottawa or eat maple syrup.
Bitch, I live in Florida. I do not want to go to the Great White North.
Oh, I couldn't stand living in Florida.
Yeah, it's not great. But you do become adapted to things over time.
Although my favorite thing about Florida is Florida Man.
Florida Man is glorious.
You ever do the Florida Man challenge where you Google Florida Man in your birthday and see what he was up to on your birthday?
I was actually just going to ask if you had heard of that.
The Florida Man challenge.
Florida Man challenge. My
BJ, are you doing the Florida Man challenge?
my wife
No,
got
I'm getting the demons ready so I can put them in the game.
the one my wife got on Florida Man challenge was Florida Man rides manatee taunting police that they can't catch him, gets caught.
I had Florida Man steals vending machine from apartment. It's so good.
Now, to be totally fair to Florida Man's not that much more ridiculous than any other American person, but Florida has much looser reporting laws, so literally anybody can pull that shit. Whereas some states, if the crime is stupid enough, it doesn't get leaked to the media.
Yeah.
Florida does not have that restriction. Granted, there's a lot of dumb people here, but there's a lot of dumb people everywhere.
Yes.
Florida man removes woman's kidney during back surgery because he thought it was a tumor.
Good job, Florida Man.
Need to make
Florida
a timeline.
Man breaks it to
Also,
restaurant.
shouldn't that be Florida Doctor, I would hope?
Florida Man Doctor.
Oh, dang.
Well, I'm going to get off here at 11 o'clock my time in 10 minutes. There's a few
That's
things.
reasonable. 11 o'clock your time is midnight my time. That's a good time for me to go to
Yeah,
bed.
I kind of chuckled when people were asking, are we still doing this? And I was like, yeah, in an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, man, my sleep schedule's still messed up. I like sleep 5 hours a night, and then I have a 2-hour nap during the day. Once like this whole situation is over, I'm just gonna be screwed.
Yeah, my schedule's all sorts of dorked up.
See, I'm lucky right now. I'm in a phase at work where my schedule is kind of my own, so if I don't roll out at 10 a.m., it's not a big deal.
That's what the principal, I talked to him today, and he's like, we need to talk about, we've got 2 new students moving to the district and how to enroll them and stuff. And he's like, when do you want to talk tomorrow? I said, we're not going to do it in the morning. He said, okay, 1 o'clock it is.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, have a good night. I look forward to doing this again.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Definitely. I'm gonna
See you guys later.
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, I look forward to next week. I'm starting a Bright Sword campaign on Friday night, and I'm starting a new D&D one on Saturday night.
Doing it all through like Roll20 or something.
Yeah, well, I also don't know about the D&D one. I was DMing for our whole group, but I'm just gonna call her Bree because that's her name. Bree wants to take over and be the DM, so she's gonna take over D&D, which leaves me open to do Brightsword,
Nice.
which is good for me. And I get to revive a very old D&D character of mine. Owl the Irritable is coming back.
The Irritable.
The Dwarven Barbarian.
All my NPCs, and I just started a D&D campaign with a group that I've gamed board games for the longest time. And one of the players is like, I've never played D&D. We've got to play. I was like, well, I'm familiar with original D&D, AD&D, and 3. Whatever. And we're all like, let's just play 5.0. But all my NPCs are old characters of mine. Everybody I come up with, this is so-and-so that I played way back when.
See, I usually wind up being the DM for some reason, and I try to warn everybody, guys, we're not truly playing D&D. We're not playing 5th edition. We're playing Chris edition because I'm going to be honest, I don't feel like reading all the rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, well, actually, you can do it this way. And I'm like, actually, I don't give a crap. We're doing it this way. Roll a die.
Yeah, as long as you're having fun.
But they, and everybody seems to just be like, okay, whatever. I don't feel like running it myself, so do your thing.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. I like to add in a lot of little flavor things. Like, I don't believe magic should work automatically. So I make my players roll a d20. If they roll a 1, the spell backfires spectacularly. If they don't roll a 1, it works the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It's just a 5% chance of failure.
Oh, it's almost like rolling a 1 when you're attacking somebody. Is it a critical fail or?
Oh yeah. I have a whole fumble chart. Hey, you got a critical fumble. Now go ahead and roll on this chart, and something crazy is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good times. I figure I roll enough torches and free blades, so it's got to be hurt somebody else somewhere.
Definitely.
Except on Legionnaires, man, best model in the game. The last game I had against Herodellin, so oh my god, I almost made him cry. It was glorious. It was, I'm going to charge that Legionnaire. Okay, I'll take a reaction shot, and super critical. Your mounted knight is dead.
Well, what I like about free blades and stuff like that is, like, if I'm rolling a d6, I have a much better chance of, hitting that exploding die than somebody rolling, a d12 or something like that.
Yes, that's why I like stabbing people with d4 daggers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just have that 25% chance.
But in that same game, I went and I killed 2 mounted knights and the Fist of Vindanar with just Legionnaires rolling crits. And it all happened within 2 turns. It was insane. They were just like, hold my beer.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do better than me. Watch this. There's 2 of them. They were going nuts. I loved it. Of course, I also torch a lot, so I genuinely get worried anytime I have to cast a spell on a 2.
You just have that unproven reputation to deal with.
Oh, that's become a gimmick around the shop too. It's glorious.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm running a demo game or something, somebody who's nearby will be like, "Oh, see that guy? That's the unproven. You got to kill him." Why do I got to kill him? Because it's a thing around here. He's not allowed to live.
We had so much fun. Were you around when I asked about names and naming the models and stuff like that?
Yes, I've been on the whole time.
The one campaign that we played locally, we just had so much fun, naming our characters. And this is, 3-fingered Sam because he had an injury, and this is Gimp Daryl because he lost his leg. And
I dig it. I like fun names. It's the only way to play some of these games.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Bill.
Yeah.
You gotta have the ordinary guy in there. All right. I think I actually finished a speeder here as well. I'm just kind of speed painting the Star Wars Legion stuff. My 5-year-old can actually understand the basic game.
Nice.
So and he's loving Star Wars right now. So it's like, okay, well let's show him this. And we've played it the last couple of weekends with him, and he's loving it. He tells me where to move the figs. I move them for him. He rolls the dice. He makes all the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He
gets to make some noises.
Card. He usually picks the command card based off the art on it. And I'm like, okay, whatever, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's good times.
And it's time you
loves
have with the family.
Oh yeah. he loves the prequel stuff, and he's a goofball about it. So okay, let's get you the Clone Wars set. Cool. These models are horrendous, by the way. Have you ever played Star Wars Legion?
Yeah, I've been buying some.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the models are nice. I like the models. It's the Clone Wars starter set. Oh my God, needlessly complicated.
Well, I seem to notice that they, at least not the Clone Wars stuff, but everything goes in, nicely. They're pegged nicely, and I think it's because they want to get the non-miniature gamers. They don't want to have all the hassle of, gluing and trying to hold stuff. And
oh, in the regular core set, I agree. The Clone Wars core set is completely the opposite.
Is it really? Ugh.
I got all excited because I was like, man, we got 4 Droideka models. This is great. That's like 2 support units. And there's 2 that are in the little hamster wheels that roll around, and 2 full ones. And the little hamster wheel ones, and I mean, these things aren't much bigger than, they're not even the size of a ping pong ball. I mean, they're way smaller than that. And they were 18 pieces to build.
Really?
And then, because I'm an idiot, I didn't look at the actual details of the models. I just started building them, and they're like, yeah, you use these wheel ones as tokens if you go into wheel mode. Are you kidding me? I just built 2 18-part token models.
Yeah.
Oh, they're a night. The battle droids are a nightmare to assemble. The clones weren't terrible, but there's still more pieces than they needed to be. But the first core set, that was easy. Pop it in, go.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway, now probably is a good time to log off because I do have to pretend to work for a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got a few family things to do before my wife goes to bed and everything else. But yeah, I'll plan on doing this in probably 2 weeks. We could probably do it Wednesday next week as well, but I probably will not host.
Oh, Wednesday is game night in my land, so yeah, that works for me.
Alrighty, cool.
I will talk to you gents later.
All right, and bye, Chris, and bye, Andrew. We're gonna close the meeting out.
Yep, take care.
All right, bye.
See ya.